Khan couldn't help but feel a mixture of curiosity and gratitude towards the enigmatic venerable monk. He wondered what the monk had seen or sensed in him that led him to keep his secrets hidden. It was clear that the monk's wisdom went far beyond the affairs of the mortal world, and he seemed to have a deep understanding of the interconnectedness of all things. Perhaps the venerable monk saw a potential in Khan that extended far beyond the scope of the conclave of heroes. Maybe he perceived that Khan's true purpose and destiny lay in something greater, something that transcended the boundaries of the empire and even the mortal realm. Whatever the reasons, Khan knew that he would have to trust in the monk's wisdom and guidance. The venerable monk had lived a long and enlightened life, and his insights were likely based on profound experiences and spiritual knowledge. Khan was trying to understand the profound meaning behind the line, "There are no accidents." What did it mean in Khan's case? No matter how I see it, it feels like everything has worked in my favor, although it didn't go according to how it was supposed to be. Thought Khan to himself, Empress making him a member of Heroes' Party despite Khan not wanting to. And that too when the conclave of heroes was right around the corner. Then the supposed powerhouse whom Romulus previously spoke of not being able to come for Khan after the end of the Elysium tribal tourney. And lastly, a sage of divination expecting Khan's arrival at the present moment and willingly choosing him to pass. All of it felt that it was somehow predestined. Is this my canon event? Wondered Khan. What was a canon event? Something that was supposed to happen regardless of the changes in plans, timelines, or even destiny itself. The crucial aspect of a canon event is its inevitability. While the means to achieve the event may change and deviate from the original route due to unexpected turns of events, the outcome remains fixed. Many times, the canon event must happen for the sake of the world. Also, it cannot be shifted, skipped, or changed no matter what you did. Whether one changed the timeline or even the universe itself, the canon event will take place despite different interventions. And the way everything went on so far, Khan was certain that this was one of those pivotal milestones of his journey. But why do I feel like I'm almost walking at death's door? This is a clear death flag from my past life's experience as a weeb and otaku. Hell, someone with years of experience can easily predict such a plotline. Yet here I am, with no choice but to go along with it. Because if I don't, this will be my last day in this world. Spoke Khan and sighed. At the present scenario, he truly didn't have any other choice but to go along with the current situation regardless of his reservations. But I guess there must be a good reason why event this monk is letting me pass despite serving an empire that wants to hunt and kill me. For what reason? I will have to see for myself. He chose to take a leap of faith first, leaving his fate in the hands of the sage who seemed to have seen a part of Khan's destiny. Wear these cloaks. It will mask your appearances, species, and auras completely. Spoke Kali and summoned golden and emerald-patterned cloaks with intricate designs with the sigil of the Nader Empire on the back. After everyone adorned those cloaks, a small illusion sphere was cast on them that changed their appearances and even height. Forget the others, one would be fooled by their own aura as if it belonged to someone else. Although some of the heroes and heroines have made public appearances, there is no information available on the likes of Hero of Lightning and Hero of Space. Even Hero of Light has never shown his face to anyone as if he was never summoned in the first place. We can't let everyone know which one is the hero among the group and let others mark them from the very start. Spoke the Empress, explaining her reasoning. After everything was said and done, the final moment came. Their golden and partially transparent shapes acted as keys to open an invisible door that came into existence out of nowhere. Dang! As the venerable monk, Ogwe, chanted in an ancient and mysterious language, a profound aura filled the air. Hundreds of golden and partially transparent sutras materialized, hovering in the air like floating keys. These sacred symbols acted as the means to unlock an invisible door that seemed to materialize out of thin air. With a resounding sound, a brilliant blue light emanated from within the doorway, illuminating the surroundings. The passage to a different dimension had been opened, revealing a path leading to an unknown realm beyond. This was the entrance to the sacred and hidden realm which was to host the conclave of heroes. As the door opened, It beckoned the members of the hero's party to step forward and embark on their journey into the unknown, where destiny and fate awaited them. The conclave of heroes would test their mettle, forge their character, and shape their paths in ways they could not yet comprehend. And for Khan, this moment marked the beginning of a profound and life-changing adventure. Finally, after walking through the long passage, Kali, Romulus, and the members of the hero's party saw an otherworldly environment that went beyond normal sense of existence. "We're here. This is Hesperides," declared the Empress while everyone was entranced in the beauty of this realm. Since ancient times, this realm was addressed as sacred grounds or holy lands by the empires serving the gods. But it had a different name long ago. It was also called as the Land of the Gods. In the realm known as the Hesperides, a breathtaking sight awaited those who entered its domain. Floating castles adorned the skies, perched atop meteorite-like mountains that floated gracefully in the boundless expanse of space. Each castle was a marvel of architecture and magic, representing a different aspect of reality. Some were lush gardens of vibrant colors, housing flora and fauna that defied the laws of nature. Others were towering citadels of light, emanating a celestial glow that illuminated the cosmos. Each castle existed in harmony with the laws of its own reality, a testament to the infinite possibilities of creation. Rivers of world energy crisscrossed the open space, flowing in multicolored streams like a natural web of interconnected energy. These currents held the secrets of the cosmos, granting those who could harness their power a glimpse into the fabric of existence itself. The environment was a symphony of energies and realities, merging and colliding in an intricate dance of cosmic proportions. At the center of this celestial wonderland stood the 13 towers, towering structures that seemed to bridge the gap between this world and another dimension. Each tower represented a different aspect of reality, representing a law of reality, and served as a gateway to the adventures that lay ahead for the hero and heroine's parties. "I greet your majesty, the Empress." As soon as they exited the gate, a humble voice resounded in the surroundings as a powerful entity was waiting for them at the exit. This 3-meter-tall warrior was of an intermediate 7th-stage saint rank, someone qualified to be a heavenly king in the Nader Empire. "Be careful around him. He is a member of that group," warned Romulus to Khan, signaling him to do his best to lay low. And thanks to the cloaks that the Empress provided to them, it became much easier for Khan to do so. One could say that Kali was the biggest helper Khan recently came across. "Markgrave, can't say I am pleased to see you," spoke Kali with a hint of anger in her tone. Before her stood a lionkin spear warrior in a silver-plated armor from head to toe. Markgrave represented the Beast Empire in the mysterious group created to hunt down the hero of darkness, and his dedication to this cause was evident in the relinquishment of his title and candidacy to become a heavenly king decades ago. However, Markgrave, though lower in authority compared to the Empress, carried himself with utmost respect and deference. The Empress revealed a disappointed countenance as this representative has still not been able to find the hero of darkness despite having the means and resources provided in abundance. Once a member of the previous hero of nature's party, Markgrave had undergone tremendous growth in strength over the centuries. From a mere 3rd-stage saint that he was 300 years ago, he had risen to become an intermediate 7th-stage saint, a true powerhouse akin to Romulus himself. His prowess was such that even the current Khan, with all his training and power, would not be a match for him. Their battle would require Khan to at least reach the level of a beginner 6th-stage saint, considering the difference in ranks and the formidable bloodline of God-Beast Baihu possessed by his opponent. Markgrave's journey to find and confront the hero of darkness spanned 3 long years, showing his unwavering commitment to the task. However, the one he had been looking for to seek vengeance all this time was standing among the group he respectfully welcomed in Hesperides of his own volition. "Are they ready?" asked Kali to Markgrave. "Yes, we will only take action if the hero of darkness shows up. Otherwise, we will not intervene in the proceedings of Conclave in any way," spoke the lionkin with a majestic mane. "I hope he does show up. Otherwise, all of your sacrifices would have been for naught, and I will have to take harsh decisions due to your incompetence," spoke Kali, openly threatening Markgrave in front of everyone. "I shall disappoint you no further, your majesty," spoke the Lionkin and led the way. At this moment, a similar situation occurred for the other 10 sacred passages coming from different empires. After a few minutes of travel through air, Khan finally saw the groups of other hero and heroines parties. However, everyone was hiding their auras in cloaks and masks just like them. The towers stood tall and majestic, each leading to a different entry point in the second dimension, accessible only by the hero's party members. This second dimension was a place exclusively reserved for those below 7th stage saint rank, making it suitable for the hero's party members who were mostly 6th stage saints. However, finding such powerful individuals willing to risk their lives by joining the hero's party was a challenging task, and it had taken considerable effort to assemble each team. Yet, this restriction suited Khan perfectly. Being a 5th stage saint himself, he was well within the qualifications to explore this enigmatic realm. He felt a sense of anticipation, eager to face whatever trials and secrets this dimension held. As all the 11 groups gathered in utmost quiet and secrecy, a profound silence enveloped the area. Boom! Suddenly, a divine being appeared in the skies, capturing the attention of everyone present. This enormous 4-armed humanoid being that had encompassed the entire sky emitted a lustrous white aura, and its dark blue orb that acted as the head seemed to penetrate the very souls of those who gazed upon it. Its size and shape was changing every passing minute, yet the overwhelming aura established its authority. The presence of this celestial entity filled the air with an otherworldly essence, leaving the hero's party members in awe of its power and majesty. They could feel an almost overwhelming energy emanating from the divine being, hinting at the unfathomable mysteries of this realm. The overseer of the Hesperides was a being of cosmic energy, similar to the cosmic ether entity Khan had become in the conjunction of space, took on various forms after short intervals that defied earthly comprehension. The celestial possessed multiple elements and laws of reality in their body beyond measure, and their purpose was to guide and observe those who ventured into this dimension for the conclave of heroes. With mind that held the knowledge of countless eons, they were the highest authority, ensuring that the laws of the conclave were upheld and that the sanctity of the Hesperides was preserved. However, this celestial being had no eyes, nose, or mouth, as it was made purely out of world energy. Finally, an archaic voice resounded in everyone's minds. "The gods wish success upon all. I hope you abide by the ancient rules of the conclave of heroes and pass your tests." It spoke as a pristine white aura emanated from its body. Thud! But right then, another person showed up with a 7th stage saint from one of the gateways leading into Hesperides. Both of these individuals were full-fledged fireborn with wavy fiery hair that floated in the air. However, the one in the back was an 8th stage saint with an ancient rank red spear. At the conclave of heroes, Emperor of the Vulcan Empire, Heavy Hose Siegfried finally showed up. Step. Khan was baffled to see the Emperor again. It had been more than 2 years since he last saw him. Havi, on the other end, did not speak with any other emperors or empresses and directed his gaze towards the celestial being. "I have come to invoke a clause. Hero of Darkness has killed the Hero of Fire before the Conclave of Heroes. And as per the ancient laws made during the first-ever Conclave of Heroes 3,000 years ago," spoke the Emperor in a domineering tone as he declared his intentions in front of rulers of all the powerful empires of the world that served the gods. "I have the right to claim his life." Heavy Hose Siegfried, the formidable Emperor of the Vulcan Empire, stood tall and imposing as he declared his audacious intentions to claim the life of the Hero of Darkness at the Conclave of Heroes. His empire, home to fireborns, dwarves, and other demi-human races, was devoted to serving the powerful god of fire, Hetrax. With his crimson armor and flaming cloak, Havi exuded the essence of a ruler bound to the element of fire. His eyes blazed with determination and a hint of arrogance, reflecting the immense power he wielded as the emperor. As news of his bold declaration spread through the realm, it sent ripples of apprehension and anticipation among the hero's party members and the attending representatives from different gods and empires. "What the hell is wrong with him?" I literally saved his daughter's life and even helped him purge the coup caused by the church due to my involvement when the hero of fire killed his son and tried to imprison Vanessa. Thought Khan to himself with his mind in shambles. As the conclave of heroes approached, Emperor Havi, the ruler of the Vulcan Empire, had a hidden plan in mind. Instead of seeking to harm or challenge Khan, he aimed to create a way for Khan to safely leave the conclave with him. His goal was to avoid any interference from other empires or factions and protect Khan from potential threats. To achieve this, Emperor Havi astutely utilized a specific clause in the bylaws of the conclave. This clause stated that if one of the summoned heroes or heroines were killed by another hero or heroine from a different empire that worshipped a different god or goddess, the latter would have the right to claim the life of the perpetrator. Essentially, if the hero were to be harmed by someone from a different empire, that empire would have the right to capture and bring him under their authority. Considering that the new hero of darkness did not have any empire backing him, Emperor Havi saw an opportunity to legally provide protection to Khan. He aimed to ensure that no other empire could harm or capture Khan during the conclave, as doing so would give him the authority to claim Khan and keep him safe. By implementing this plan, Emperor Havi intended to forge a bond of trust with Khan, safeguarding him from any potential threats while granting him a secure path within the conclave of heroes. This strategic move showcased Emperor Havi's foresight and desire to protect the hero of darkness, rather than capture or kill him as others would believe. Once found, whether I kill him or gain his immediate custody as my prisoner is up to me. I hope the Celestial Guardian would approve my appeal. Spoke Havi with a countenance full of resolve. In response, the Celestial Guardian of Hesperides spoke with contemplating voice. And so shall you have, child. As long as he is found to be here, that is. And due to the previous arrangement between gods, in case a hero kills another before the conclave of heroes, you can force the hero to relinquish the land inside that he, as hero of darkness, has rights to. Spoke the celestial being as it changed the shape of its body into another anthropomorphic form. In other words, if you are to capture him, you can have both lands for hero of fire and hero of darkness. The resources are also yours to claim in case the hero of darkness enters both lands and finds them inside, declared the Celestial Guardian with an authoritative tone. What land are they talking about? Asked Khan to Romulus. The one inside. It has another purpose. But exactly what, even I do not know. As per my knowledge, only the reigning emperors and empresses are privy to that information. Responded Romulus with a reserved face. Right then, Kali and some other rulers decided to speak. This is unfair. Benefits of two gods' domains given to a single empire. It will shift the power balance in the entire world. Spoke the Empress with an irritated countenance. Correct. How is he given that right just because his hero was incompetent enough to get killed by hero of darkness? Asked another emperor whose body was full of fish-like scales and held a golden trident, indicating that he was the ruler of the Empire of Water. The Celestial Guardian, on the other end, replied in a lifeless tone as he looked at Kali. Do not dare mock the rules made by the gods. It may seem unfair to you, but it is the right decision according to the previous agreements. Remember, even the previous emperors and empresses, many of whom belonged to empires that existed in those times, some of which are long gone and now you take their places, followed these very rules. So do not try to teach me, declared the Celestial Guardian in a displeased tone. Kali quickly retorted and spoke loudly. The bylaws also prohibit the Guardian to be biased or favor any heroes or the empires. Their judgment must be impartial. Her voice resounded. Boom! However, those words were not met with kindness as the Celestial Guardian revealed its otherworldly aura, and its insurmountable pressure quickly forced Kali to kneel, as if the fury of the heavens had dawned upon the Empress of the Beast Empire. Do not cite the ancient laws to me, child. I was there when it was written. After a few minutes passed, the moments that felt like suffering through numerous deaths to Kali, the Celestial Guardian spoke in an authoritative tone that resounded in everyone's ears. It is the will of the gods that honors the ancient pact. Any opposition and I, as the Guardian of Hesperides, will have to act. Honor my will the way I see it, Or perhaps any of you wish to make me enforce those laws by annihilating your empires for breaking the rules made by gods?" he asked in a grim tone. A feeling of terror suddenly ran across everyone's bodies, and even the emperors and empresses of these powerful empires, the ones who were at 8th stage saint rank, shuddered. They realized that rebuking Javi's claim on Hero of Darkness was like walking on a lake with thin ice at the surface. One wrong move and they would drown till certain death. And the death won't be just theirs but their entire empire. Why? Because the Celestial Guardian, the protector of Hesperides, was a sole projection of a demigod. Do not be under the impression that I share some sort of bonding or a common cause with any of you. I am the guardian tasked with protecting this place. I have no interest in politics and the power struggle of the mortal world. However, for those who break the laws, declared the Celestial Guardian, now turning into the shape of a cute little rabbit, I am the divine justice. As the Celestial Guardian revealed his overwhelming power through his soul projection, even the mighty Empress Kali found herself kneeling before him. Witnessing this awe-inspiring display, the other emperors and empresses had no choice but to silently accept the arrangement proposed by Emperor Javi. Just a soul projection of this demigod, which did not even contain half of his strength, was enough to completely dominate and overpower an 8th stage saintess like Kali. And that too when he was merely exerting his aura due to displeasure. Only an idiot would dare to mock and question such an entity furthermore. After a collective discuss, all of them had come to accept the Celestial Guardian's decree. Under this agreement, if the Hero of Darkness were to appear at the Conclave of Heroes, they would be obliged to hand him over to the Vulcan Empire without any resistance. The sheer force and authority displayed by the Celestial Guardian left them with no room for defiance. While some emperors and empresses might have agreed reluctantly, it was clear that their compliance was motivated by a deep understanding of the demigod's unforgiving nature. He cared little for their individual concerns or struggles, leaving them with no other viable option but to acquiesce to his decision. Thus, the presence of the Celestial Guardian acted as an unyielding force that compelled everyone to conform to the proposed arrangement. His power and status as a demigod solidified the authority behind Emperor Javi's plan, ensuring that the Hero of Darkness would be safeguarded and protected during the Conclave of Heroes, as per the Vulcan Empire's desires. Xing. As others had come to terms with the decision, right then, the Guardian sensed something and looked at Khan under the cloak. I feel the darkness from him, but it's as if the beacon has yet to be lit up. His divine key is not awakened. Spoke the Celestial Guardian to himself. The Celestial Guardian had sensed and found the Hero of Darkness. Well, it is not my problem to uncover his truth and hold him responsible. Compared to the previous generations, this Conclave of Heroes is full of surprises for the first time in the past 3,000 years since I was tasked with this job. All of them have failed to even find him all this time, and he is actually present here at the moment. So why should I do their job for them? He thought with a sense of superiority, reveling in the incompetence of the empires. He was the guardian of Hesperides, and the enforcer of the bylaws of Conclave of Heroes, not the hunting dog for these empires. I shall allow everyone to pass through. What happens inside? He thought while hiding his surprise. The fate will decide for itself. As the Celestial Guardian, a powerful demigod with a sense of duty and neutrality, discovered Khan's true identity as the Hero of Darkness, he found himself perplexed by the series of unusual connections and circumstances surrounding the young hero. Seriously, what the hell is going on here? Why is a chosen hero masquerading as part of another hero's party? He thought to himself. Despite his sense of superiority and his knowledge of Khan's true nature, the Celestial Guardian decided to keep the secret to himself, honoring his duty to remain neutral and not interfere in the grand scheme of things. As his observations extended to the other members of the party, he couldn't help but raise more questions. Why is the former Dragon Emperor tied to this child through a contract of familiarity? He pondered with confusion as he looked at Vildred, who hid in the true dimension. The mysterious connection between Vildred and Khan intrigued him, and he wondered about the implications of such a bond between two significant figures. Next, his gaze landed on Romulus, who stood behind Kali. And why is this Fenrirborn here again? Wasn't he part of the 8th Hero of Darkness party 300 years ago? The Celestial Guardian could almost see through everything that happened in Hesperides if he willed so. He had the recollection of all of those who previously attained the conclave and was familiar with everyone's aura and soul signature. The presence of Romulus, a figure with a history tied to the Hero of Darkness party from centuries ago, added another layer of complexity to the situation. His investigation didn't stop there. The Celestial Guardian delved further into Khan's soul, uncovering yet another intriguing link. What is Rathnar Whitlock, the former peak saint of Vantria, doing here? Didn't he fail to become a demigod and die? Why is his half-soul tied to the new Hero of Darkness via a soul oath? He kept wondering, completely taken aback by this revelation. The discovery of Rathnar Whitlock's connection to Khan through a soul oath raised even more questions about the interwoven destinies of these individuals. As the Celestial Guardian observed the unfolding events at the Conclave of Heroes, he couldn't help but be struck by the unprecedented and bizarre combination of circumstances. A hero hiding in another hero's party. A former member of the Hero of Darkness party reappearing with a different empire's entourage. A royal dragon is present at the conclave for the first time in history, and the soul of a peak saint who was unaffiliated with any gods and empires. Spoke the deity to himself, contemplating the plot twists. The convergence of these unique individuals at the same time and place was nothing short of extraordinary, defying conventional expectations and adding an air of mystery and intrigue to the proceedings. This is the most bizarre combination I have ever seen. I really shouldn't have accepted this job. If only I could leave this place whenever I wanted and chat with other deities. There's too much happening in the outside world, and I'm stuck with this watchman's job. I should contact others, only then I would be brought up to speed. Thought the demigod as he contemplated his life choices. The Celestial Guardian found himself longing for the opportunity to discuss these unfolding events with other divine beings, hoping to gain insight into the deeper meanings behind this seemingly unusual gathering of the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Damn it! I should have brought the divine popcorns. This time, things are getting way too interesting. I'm dying to read the next chapter. Despite his duty to remain neutral, the Celestial Guardian couldn't help but be entertained by the unexpected turn of events. The unique combination of characters and their unexpected presence at this conclave of heroes had piqued his curiosity, making the unfolding drama more fascinating than he initially anticipated. At this stage, just make someone regress back in time, and we will have a masterpiece. Ugh! Amidst another hero's party, a slim figure wrapped in a cloak expressed his discomfort, groaning in response to an unknown presence he suddenly felt. "Are you okay?" asked a sixth stage saint. The sixth stage saint, whose two white wings were concealed beneath his white and golden cloak, approached the figure, displaying a compassionate demeanor while having eyes full of genuine concern. "For some reason, I feel like a very repulsive existence that feels threatening to me is present here. This is the first time I've felt like this ever since I was summoned 9 years ago." Spoke this person with a feeling of unease. He was a fifth stage saint, but even he felt sick for some reason. The perplexing sensation puzzled the fifth stage saint, leaving him uneasy and on edge. However, the sixth stage saint offered a possible explanation. Maybe it could be the pressure from the Celestial Guardian. He is a demigod after all. Just bear with it. We have more important tasks to achieve. Understanding the significance of their mission and the role of the Celestial Guardian, the sixth stage saint encouraged the fifth stage saint to endure the discomfort and focus on the task at hand. And for both of them, we need you to be in your perfect health and full power. So, focus your attention on the task at hand. He emphasized on the importance of their mission. Aware of the vital role the fifth stage saint played in their endeavors, the party members stressed the importance of maintaining perfect health and power to accomplish their objectives successfully. Meanwhile, at the same time, Khan suddenly feels an innate connection with someone standing among another hero's party in green and white cloaks. "What are you doing here? And why is she here as well?" he asked that entity. A voice whispered in his mind and replied, "I will tell you everything if we meet inside." This person, This hero's party was a group of 11 people, donning resplendent golden cloaks. All right, keep your character and aid him to your best ability. We cannot risk another empire knowing your identities. All of your work there would go in vain if the truth is exposed. So follow the orders. We all shall meet again if we're lucky," replied Khan as if he knew this person. This hero's party was a group of 11 people, donning resplendent golden cloaks adorned with intricate patterns, stood together in the presence of the gathering. After Khan relayed his words, most of them nodded in agreement and understanding, acknowledging the gravity of the situation. As the stage settled and the momentous occasion reached its pinnacle, the celestial guardian, embodying his divine presence, spoke with a voice that resonated with majesty and grandeur. "All right then, I shall open the gates," he declared. Clank. Soon, one after another, other than the ones made for Hero of Darkness and Hero of Fire, the 11 towers lit up and the gates to those massive towers, reserved for each hero's party and their respective empire, had finally opened. The anticipation in the air was palpable as everyone present held their breath in anticipation of what would come next. To the heroes and heroines summoned in this generation, I welcome you to the domain of the gods. His words echoed throughout the conclave of heroes, and a hush fell over the assembled crowd as they listened intently. Babylon. As their party walked towards the assigned tower's gate that led to their next destination, a man in another hero's party looked towards their direction. As the man with the wicked glimmer in his eyes gazed upon Hero of Nature's party, a sense of foreboding filled the air. The group, concealed within their golden hoods, exuded an aura of mystery and danger. The chilling words spoken by the man held an unsettling promise. "I'll see you inside, Khan Salvatore." The utterance of Khan's true name instead of his Atrus persona was signaling that it was clear that this enigmatic figure knew more than what was readily apparent. His gaze seemed to pierce through the cloak of secrecy that surrounded Khan's identity as the Hero of Darkness. They entered the second dimension, aka the domain of the gods called Babylon. And finally, as soon as they appeared on the other side, a notification rang in Khan's head. The host has entered one of the gods' domain. The host's divine key has started absorbing the divine essence of the god of nature. The host will require 3 days until his core is stabilized and his life is no longer in imminent danger. Informed the system. It's just like my master said, any god's divine essence is enough for me to survive. This will do for now, but I still need to find my way there, thought Khan to himself. This time, it was solely Khan who entered in this realm called Babylon. Vildred and Romulus had no choice but to wait outside. Only Rathnar, who was embedded in his soul, was able to pass through with him. This so-called divine essence of a god was exactly what Khan needed to keep living on, and hence he was forced to come to the conclave of heroes. Babylon was actually a vast expanse of 2,000 kilometers divided into 13 peninsulas. Each of these regions were created by a god or goddess while possessing their divine essence that a hero's divine key needed after all the heroes had become a saint. And the time limit for it was 5 years. And those who did not attend the conclave of heroes and did not get their divine keys, aka their cores, to absorb enough of this divine essence before that 5 years window ended, they would simply die as their core would crumble from inside like a shattered marble. Unlike Hesperides, which was called as Land of the Gods, Babylon was where the gods had left an altar for a ritual-like process that also allowed the gods to directly speak with their chosen heroes and heroines. However, no saint above 6th stage was allowed to enter due to restrictions placed by Babylon. Thus, the strongest members of a hero's party were never at 7th stage saint or above. Khan by himself was fully capable of even fighting a single beginner 7th stage saint, so he had full confidence in his survival. Thus, Romulus allowed him to go even if Argos didn't show up on time. There were 2 main objectives at hand given by the empires to the heroes' parties. One was to protect and assist the heroes to reach and safely enter the altars left by the gods where they would be able to talk with them. But the biggest task was not only that but also to break the limit. Before coming here, all the heroes' party members were informed of the main reason why they had to assist Maximus in the first place. Because after entering the altar of the god of nature, A ritual will be performed by the mechanism left by the gods that would break the limit of the heroes to raise their ranks in succession without any consequences by 3 ranks altogether. Means Maximus would be confirmed to become at least an 8th stage saint just like the Empress. All he needed was enough resources such as Saint cores and methods to absorb the world energy within in short time. He would not need to wait for years before his body adjusted to his current strength and became stable enough for next breakthrough. If another hero killed and absorbed the core aka divine key of another hero/heroine, they will be able to enter the tower and finally to that altar made for that hero as well. And with that, they could break themselves up to 5 ranks instead. But there was a twist. The realm of Babylon held a wondrous opportunity for the heroes and heroines who ventured into its sacred confines. With the divine essence of the gods infused within the divine keys, it served as a limitless source of power and potential for these chosen individuals. For Khan, as the 9th hero of darkness, this realm called Babylon offered a chance to expedite his growth as a saint. Typically, it would take him around 15 to 18 years to ascend to the 8th stage, even with his extraordinary divine abilities. From that point on, each rank up would demand minimum 20 years of his time. However, by harnessing the power of the divine key, he could become an 8th stage saint within just 5 years. This remarkable boon meant that if a 5th stage saint hero absorbed the divine key of another, they could easily break through to become a peak saint within a mere decade. The potential for rapid growth and immense power was evident, and it piqued the interest of the empires present at the conclave of heroes. For the other empires, acquiring the divine key and unleashing the potential of their chosen hero would grant them a formidable advantage. With a hero wielding divine abilities and possessing the strength of a peak saint at their side, these empires would have an unrivaled powerhouse under their command. Even the mighty emperors and empresses would find it challenging to match the strength of such a hero. Moreover, by securing the divine key, they would secure a confirmed sovereign in their empire, even if the hero did not reach the peak saint stage. This assurance of power and authority would further cement their dominion and influence within the world of Vantria. In the vast landscape of power struggles and territorial conquests, the significance of the divine keys and the realm of Babylon could not be overstated. The potential to shape the course of history and secure unparalleled strength drew the empires into a covert and intricate dance, each seeking to obtain this coveted source of power while concealing their true intentions from their rivals. That being said, the empires wouldn't allow hunting their heroes. Not on the surface at least, because it would mean a certain war with the other party having a righteous cause in the name of justice. Through Romulus, Khan learned the truth behind the reason why the world was hunting him. Amidst the surface appearance of feigned justice and revenge, the true intentions of the empires and the group created to hunt the 9th hero of darkness were shrouded in secrecy and hidden agendas. While the empires could not openly hunt their heroes, the opportunity presented by the 9th hero's lack of support and criminal status was too tempting for them to resist. The divine key he possessed, infused with the precious divine essence of the gods, held immense power and potential. Added to the fact that he killed the hero of fire, the hero of darkness was currently the only one with a sure-shot way to become a peak saint. Under the guise of seeking revenge for their previous heroes slain by the 8th hero of darkness, each empire had its sights set on acquiring the 9th hero of darkness divine keys for themselves. The prospect of claiming such a potent divine key and the power it would bestow upon the possessor was too alluring to ignore. Despite putting up a facade of righteous vengeance, deep down, everyone present at the conclave of heroes knew the true motivations behind their actions. Each party had its hidden motives and ambitions, veiled beneath a thin veneer of camaraderie and justice. In the shadowy realm of politics and power struggles, none were without their own ulterior motives, and the pursuit of the divine key of the 9th hero of darkness became a focal point of ambition and intrigue even more than it already was. But outwardly, they remained silent, each playing their part in this elaborate dance of deception, waiting for the right moment to make their move and seize the coveted prize. In the end, it wasn't about seeking justice or revenge for what happened 300 years ago. It was all about greed, power, and authority. As Khan pieced together the truth behind the incident, a clear realization dawned upon him. The Empire's motives were never about righteousness or the display of divine wrath. It all revolved around his divine key. This coveted core of his held the power to grant their chosen heroes a surefire chance at reaching the elusive realm of peak saint rank, a domain of power that had remained unattainable since the time of Rathnar Whitlock, the first emperor of the Rakos Empire. Even Khan knew that when Rathnar was still alive during the battle against the demon god, he was probably the only one capable of slaying such a formidable foe that all the other heroes in the past 3,000 years had failed to kill. But their paths had never intersected, mainly because Rathnar chose not to serve or worship the gods when he founded the Rakos Empire. He had witnessed firsthand the bloodshed and conflicts caused by religious beliefs among different species, races, and cultures. As a result, he made a momentous decision to prohibit the formation of religious organizations within the Rakos Empire, a practice that persisted to this day. In those times, the existence of the Rakos Empire, led by Rathnar Whitlock, posed a significant threat to the neighboring empires that were steeped in religious worship and allegiance to various gods and goddesses. Rathnar's refusal to follow suit and his decision to build his empire based on customs and principles that did not involve the divine doctrine of any god or goddess made him a target for those who believed in the superiority of their own religious beliefs. As a result, these neighboring empires sent their summoned heroes and heroines to eliminate Rathnar and his empire, viewing him as a dangerous renegade who posed a challenge to their own existence. Despite the odds stacked against him, Rathnar managed to fend off these attacks and personally took down 9 heroes from that generation, gaining a fearsome reputation as one of the most formidable hero killers, second only to the infamous 8th hero of darkness. If Rathnar had indeed been involved in that war, the course of events might have been vastly different, and Khan might never have been summoned to Vantria as the hero of darkness. Even now, the Rakos Empire stood apart from the rest, being the only domain where individuals were not ostracized or condemned based on their race, species, skin color, or societal background. The empire fostered an environment of inclusivity, where loving and marrying someone from a different species was not prohibited. Hybrids born from such unions were treated no differently from any other citizens, enjoying the same rights and respect as everyone else. Amidst the power struggles and hidden agendas of the other empires, the Rakos Empire stood as a beacon of unity and acceptance, free from the shackles of religious conflict that had plagued so many others. Though not without its imperfections, the reformed Rakos Empire now offered a far more equitable and just situation compared to its neighboring counterparts. The Vulcan Empire, for instance, had long been plagued by deep-seated prejudices, where fireborns, dwarves, and demi-human races treated humans with disdain and scorn, relegating them to an inferior status. Similarly, the Zivit Empire was characterized by the domination of high elves, and humans, who held absolute power and treated other species as mere labor and expendable resources. In contrast, the Nader Empire epitomized a culture centered on strength, where might made right and weakness was a fault to be punished. The people of Nader engaged in lethal conflicts over matters of tradition and honor, even resolving ordinary disputes through trial by combat, where killing was permitted, and the victor's perspective was deemed righteous while the defeated was branded as wrong and evil. While the Rakos Empire still had room for improvement, it had taken significant steps forward in creating a society based on inclusivity, equality, and fairness. The journey toward a more perfect system was ongoing, but the empire's commitment to progress and unity set it apart from the more oppressive and discriminatory regimes of the surrounding empires. Despite its progressiveness and inclusivity, the Rakos Empire still grappled with the challenge of the noble clans and factions holding significant sway over the government's decision-making process. These influential groups had integrated themselves into the very fabric of governance, effectively dictating the empire's structure. However, this state of affairs underwent a drastic transformation when Khan assumed the mantle of sovereign of Verlassen and orchestrated his fake death. Abdication of the noble clans and factions, paving the way for real democracy to take root and reshape the empire's governance. This daring move triggered a revolution that resulted in the forced abdication of the noble clans and factions, paving the way for real democracy to take root and reshape the empire's governance. At the present moment, Maximus, as the leader of the party and the hero of nature, offered an explanation to his allies. As you all know, the landscape of God's domain keeps changing during each conclave. Thus, any form of map is useless. After completing both objectives, we have to return through this entrance. And the altar of the gods is on the other end of this peninsula. His stern voice resounded. He continued, revealing the location of the altar of the gods and the time it would take him to break the limit on his body. It will take me 10 days of time, and during the procedure I will be completely vulnerable. He spoke and sighed. We will act as your guards, as previously agreed, for those 10 days. Khan reaffirmed their commitment to act as guards for the hero of nature during those times. However, Khan raised a valid concern that weighed heavily on their minds. The problem is, what do we do about the realm tiers? Now, what was a realm tier? A realm tier, as the name suggests, is a tier or rift in the fabric of reality. It created a passage between different peninsulas within Babylon, each of which is created by a different god or goddess. When someone passes through a realm tier, they may find themselves in a completely different landscape, facing new challenges and potentially encountering other hero or heroines parties. The existence of realm tiers posed a unique set of dangers and uncertainties for the hero's party, because not only do they have to navigate the obstacles and threats within their own peninsula, but they also have to be on guard against potential encounters with other hero parties from different peninsulas. This introduced the risk of confrontations and battles with other powerful individuals vying for the divine keys, the coveted keys that can lead to the coveted realm of Peak Saint. With the hero of darkness absent, other hero parties may see this as an opportunity to seize the advantage and claim the divine keys for themselves. If such an encounter were to take place and lead to casualties, it could easily be attributed to the absent hero of darkness, as Empress Kali had previously warned. The lack of supervision in God's domains allows for a degree of anonymity, making it challenging to identify the culprits behind any potential clashes. In the midst of this uncertainty and potential danger, the hero's party must remain vigilant and united, facing both the known challenges of their own peninsula and the unknown threats that may emerge from the realm tiers. As Maximus took charge and led the party forward, a solemn determination settled upon each member's face. The challenges they would face in God's domain were going to be more demanding than ever. On top of it, the temporary suppression of their semi-saint levels and the inability to use their saint-rank skills and magic spells left them only with their raw skills, knowledge, and weapons to rely on. Let's go. Our challenges in this realm are going to be tougher since all of us are not brought on the level of semi-saints and none of us can no longer use our saint-rank skills and magic spells. All we have at our hands is our skills, knowledge, and weapons," declared Maximus with a countenance filled with determination and vigor. The gravity of their situation hung in the air as they ventured further into the mystical realm. Each step they took was now dependent on their expertise, experience, and unity as a team. Their individual and collective strengths would be put to the test as they faced the unpredictable trials of God's domain. Khan, now stripped of power and the familiarity of his saint-rank abilities, felt a mix of excitement and resolve, because it was his opportunity to know how truly strong he became compared to the previous times when he was a semi-saint in Rocco's empire. Right then, an unknown existence revealed itself. The figure in the dark green cloak was a scout sent by an unknown force belonging to this realm, tasked with keeping an eye on the hero's party as they entered the realm of Babylon. His appearance was inconspicuous, and he had been observing them from a distance, hidden on the cliff overlooking the landscape. Upon seeing the hero's party set forth on their journey, the scout wasted no time and quickly activated an artifact, a communication device of sorts. Speaking into it, he relayed the crucial information to his lord, the person who had sent him on this surveillance mission. "They are here, my lord," he reported, his voice hushed and discreet. This simple message conveyed the presence of the hero's party in the god's domain, confirming their arrival in Babylon. The figure on the other end of the artifact, likely a powerful individual with authority, was now aware of the hero's party's location and actions. With this information transmitted, the scout returned the artifact to its hiding place and continued his observation. He knew that his lord would have plans in motion, and it was now a waiting game to see how events would unfold. But most importantly, he was thrilled with anticipation, as their main mission was to kill the hero's party. As the hero's party ventured deeper into the peninsula of Babylon, they encountered an array of strange inhabitants. The region was teeming with formidable monsters, each at least at the Lord rank, possessing strength comparable to area bosses in the real world. Some of these creatures even rivaled the final bosses found in low-tier dungeons, making their presence in this realm even more daunting. The landscape of the peninsula was a breathtaking sight to behold, filled with serene and dense natural wonders. Towering trees, cascading waterfalls, and majestic peaks adorned the land, creating a picturesque view for the adventurers. However, amidst this beauty lurked danger, as the skies were crowded with bird-like creatures, some of which were formidable high lord rank predators, capable of posing a significant threat to unwary travelers. Adding to the mystique of the realm were floating meteorites made of crystals, seemingly scattered across the skies. These were not ordinary crystals but appeared to carry a unique elemental essence within their core. Some emitted an aura of light, while others exuded an aura of darkness, indicating the presence of highly dense elemental mana. The significance of these crystals and their elemental attributes was yet to be fully understood, but their existence added an enigmatic and otherworldly aspect to the already fascinating landscape of Babylon. As the party continued to navigate through the ever-changing landscapes of the god's domain, Speaky, the fire summoner, remarked on the unique nature of the realm. "It's just like we were informed. This place is a condensed part of all elements of reality." The god's domain indeed exhibited a fusion of various elements, a manifestation of the extraordinary power and mystique that surrounded them. The problem is the trial itself. There is no record of it. No one was able to record using any artifacts, and even those heroes and their party members who completed them do not remember after returning from Babylon. Maximus, the leader of the group, added his insights regarding the trial they were about to face. The lack of any recorded history or memory concerning the trial was a troubling mystery. It heightened the tension within the party, knowing that they were venturing into uncharted territory, with no knowledge of what awaited them. "I wonder what kind of trial we will face." Awakens, the mage, voiced the curiosity and concern shared by all. The question hung in the air, leaving the group with a sense of uncertainty and apprehension. The unknown nature of the trial only added to the weight of their responsibility and the unpredictability of the god's domain. With Maximus taking charge, the party of adventurers moved through the dense jungles of the god's domain. Even though their powers had been suppressed to the semi-saint level, their bloodlines and passive abilities still proved valuable in their team formation. "Svanna, you know what to do." Svanna, the feline assassin, nodded in acknowledgement, understanding her role within the group. Her abilities as an assassin would prove handy in scouting and reconnaissance. "Vikat, cover the air. But don't fly too high. Use the trees and terrain to find a way for us to head forward while detecting enemies." Vikat, equipped with the advantage of flight as a Tengu spearman, acknowledged Maximus's instructions. He would use his keen senses and aerial advantage to scan for potential threats from above. Pakawar, Zavaliz, and Borat will move in one group while covering our left. The trio of warriors formed a formidable ground force, each with their unique strengths and abilities. Together, they would act as the vanguard, leading the way through the treacherous terrain. Atrus, Conan, and I will move in a different group and cover the right side. Maximus, Atrus, and Conan formed another group, leveraging their respective skills to navigate the challenges that lay ahead. Atrus, with his identity as the hero of darkness concealed, would play a pivotal role in this endeavor. Speaky and Awakens will stay in the middle and provide support if either of the sides encounters enemies. Speaky and Awakens took up their positions in the middle, ready to support either group as the need arose. Their magical prowess and support abilities would be crucial in bolstering their companions during skirmishes. With each member knowing their designated roles, the party moved with purpose and coordination through the lush jungles. Maximus's strategic command ensured that they maximized their effectiveness as a team while staying alert to potential threats. And remember, our objective is to pass through quietly and inconspicuously. We are not here to wage war on the inhabitants of this realm. Maximus gave out his final command as team leader. Maximus, as the team leader, displayed his strategic prowess by dividing the heroes' party into specialized groups to maximize their strengths and cover their weaknesses. He assigned Svanna and Vikat, the assassin and rock descendant capable of flight, respectively, for reconnaissance tasks. Their unique abilities made them ideal for scouting and gathering information on potential threats. To maintain a strong defense, Maximus split the powerful fighters into two groups, positioning them on the left and right sides of the formation. This ensured that they could swiftly respond to any attacks from either direction. Meanwhile, Awakens the mage and Speaky, the summoner, were placed in the middle, ready to provide support and assistance to either melee group if needed. One crucial reason for this unconventional formation was the absence of a healer, dryad, or priest in their party. Recognizing this weakness, Maximus devised a strategy to compensate for their lack of healing abilities. By creating a formation that allowed for quick and effective communication between different sections of the group, they could respond swiftly to any threat and protect each other in times of attack or ambush. Khan fully approved of Maximus' strategic setup, not just because it covered their weaknesses, but also because it cleverly created an illusion of vulnerability to potential enemies. The formation gave the appearance of an exposed rear, tempting any hostile entity or group to see it as an opportunity to strike and bring down the entire party. However, what the enemies didn't know was that it was a carefully orchestrated deception that would lead to their own demise. Unbeknownst to them, the two mages in the middle were silently casting barriers and spells using their mana. These hidden actions allowed them to leave tracking formations that would detect any ambush coming from the rear. As a result, both sides of the formation would be quickly alerted and prepared to support the center in the event of an attack. In essence, the heroes' party had laid a clever trap, using their apparent vulnerability as bait to lure in their enemies. But little did those enemies know that they were walking into a well-prepared defense, and any attempt to attack from the rear would be met with swift and decisive retaliation from both flanks. The strategic brilliance of the formation not only covered their weaknesses but also turned their supposed vulnerability into a strength. It showcased the expertise and adaptability of the heroes' party, making them formidable opponents in the dangerous and unpredictable realm of Babylon. Just like my master, Maximus is indeed qualified to lead a platoon of soldiers. I heard he was a lieutenant in the army in his original world. His setup that looks shoddy and full of openings is actually very versatile, and instead of weakness, it's acting like a bait to lure enemies in a way Maximus wants them to react. Khan approved this because he too had similar experiences with his subordinates when they fought as a team, although on very rare occasions. Hence, this battle formation was very carefully created for their specific party. As the group continued their cautious journey through the unfamiliar and treacherous realm of Babylon, they made excellent progress while skillfully avoiding any unnecessary confrontations with the formidable monsters that roamed the area. Using their artifacts as communication devices, they stayed in constant contact, keeping each other updated on their movements and any potential threats. After nearly half a day of steady progress, the heroes' party decided it was time to take a break and set up a temporary camp. However, they were well prepared and did not resort to traditional campfires or tents that might attract unwanted attention. Instead, they used their unique abilities and resources to create small igloo-like shelters constructed from sand and mud. These makeshift structures were properly insulated and provided protection and comfort without drawing undue notice. Within these temporary shelters, various artifacts were utilized to provide essential amenities. Small devices for lighting, heating, and even water creation were activated using their mana cores, making the camp both practical and inconspicuous. To ensure their safety, Speaky and Awakens employed their expertise to create formations and barriers that masked their presence from the surrounding environment. These illusions concealed their settlements and made it nearly impossible for hostile creatures or beings to detect their auras or even their bodily scents. The decision to halt their journey at night was not due to fatigue but rather a wise precautionary measure. The realm of Babylon was full of unknown dangers, and attracting attention from hostile creatures or other entities could be disastrous. By remaining hidden and vigilant, the heroes' party ensured they could continue their journey without unnecessary disturbances. increasing their chances of successfully navigating the realm and reaching their objective safely. But despite their great efforts, someone was watching them from the shadows, while even someone like Khan hadn't been able to notice their presence for some unknown reason. What they didn't know that their moment of respite was actually the opportunity this enemy was waiting for. The hero's party was well aware that larger campfires or any other conspicuous activities could easily attract unwanted attention in the dangerous realm of Babylon. Noise and light could act as beacons, drawing the focus of predatory creatures or other hostile entities towards them. In such a perilous environment, it was crucial to remain discreet and avoid any unnecessary risks. By opting for smaller, more controlled methods of creating light and warmth, the group ensured that their presence remained concealed from potential threats. They knew that their very survival depended on their ability to remain undetected in this mysterious and hostile land. The last thing they wanted was to become easy prey for the powerful monsters and beings that roamed the peninsula, especially the larger ones, because those things would create more noise and alert others, acting like a beacon to all possible hostile entities, telling them, "Hey, look, the food is located here. Let's kill and eat them." As the members of the party gathered in the center of their temporary camp, sitting on stone columns, Maximus urged caution and strategic planning. "Let's summarize everything we have found so far and create a new strategy for tomorrow. Otherwise, we will be walking into death's doors if we think that what we know is more than enough." Complacency often causes the downfall of even the greatest armies. So let us be careful and improvise. He emphasized the importance of not underestimating the challenges they faced in the gods' domain and the need to adapt and improvise to ensure their survival. With their leaders' intentions clear, the exchange of information and ideas began in the settlement. Each member shared their insights and experiences, pooling their knowledge to devise a comprehensive strategy for the days ahead. But unbeknownst to them, danger lurked in the shadows. Hundreds of yellow eyes suddenly appeared from the dark corners, surrounding their camp from all directions. Their unsuspecting gathering had caught the attention of an unseen threat. The hooded figure, who had earlier discovered their presence, emerged from the shadows, issuing a chilling command. "Kill them all! Rar! Roar!" The sudden monstrous roars and screeches sent shivers down the spines of the hero of nature's party members. They immediately sprang into action, their instincts and training taking over as they prepared for the imminent threat. The peaceful tranquility of their concealed camp was shattered, and they knew they had to respond swiftly to whatever danger approached. Boom! The sudden cracks on the once secure protection barrier and the buzzing of the alarm formations sent shockwaves of panic through the hero's party. It was evident that they were facing a coordinated and well-planned ambush from all directions. The monsters seemed to have anticipated their presence and laid a trap, leaving the party surrounded and exposed. As they battled the monsters on the ground, the swarm of flying manta ray-like creatures descended from the sky, swooping down with deadly precision. Bang! From the top of the dome of the barriers, they started making an opening, now even creating the extra breach in the barrier. "Strategy 7, declared Maximus as he summoned his great sword and massive shield. Boom! On the other side, Speaky quickly summoned over 50 large fire birds and dozens of massive fireballs that spread in the sky and the borders of the barrier, lighting the entire area. The monsters that had launched the ambush were momentarily blinded and disoriented by the sudden burst of light and heat. "A truce now," ordered the hero of nature. Khan did not waste a single moment and jumped 5 meters high, and while he was midair, he charged Beowulf with his ice elemental mana. And as he descended, boom! Both of his gauntlets landed on the ground, creating a huge wave of ice that quickly spread like spider webs and covered their entire camp area. Dang! In the following moments, pillars of ice arose from the ground at the outermost edges of the crumbling barriers and quickly connected themselves sideways, forming 10-meter-tall walls made of permafrost. The sudden eruption of ice pillars created an impromptu fortress around the hero's party, shielding them from any potential follow-up attacks from the monsters. The walls of permafrost rose tall and sturdy, standing as a testament to Khan's mastery over his ice elemental powers. Within the icy walls, the party members found themselves protected and concealed, hidden from the prying eyes of any remaining enemies. The walls were not only a barrier against hostile forces but also a strategic advantage, allowing the hero's party to regroup and devise a plan to deal with any further threats. Things didn't just end here. Svanna, the assassin, and Pakawar, the Naga spearmen of the group, charged frantically and revealed themselves to be metal and earth elemental warriors respectively. To complement the icy barrier, Svanna and Pakawar revealed their elemental powers. Svanna, an assassin, utilized her metal elemental abilities, transmuting minerals and metals within the ground to create long spikes that emerged from the bottom of deep pits formed by Pakawar, the Naga spearmen. This additional line of defense acted as a hidden trap for any attackers who might attempt to breach the outer defenses. Swoon. As the blizzard of frostbite sent shivers through the two entrances in the permafrost walls, Zavales showcased his mastery over ice manipulation, creating a formidable barrier against any potential invaders. At the same time, Awakens' lightning and wind elemental projectiles crackled with destructive power, ready to strike down any foe attempting to breach their defenses. Vikat, with his skill in summoning, conjured over 50 menacing metal halberds in the sky, each targeting the flying figures that sought to penetrate the protection barrier from above. His precision and control ensured that every strike was swift and deadly. Conan, on the other hand, summoned 10 massive light elemental swords, illuminating the surroundings and acting as both guardians and weapons, prepared to fend off any enemy that dared to approach the walls. Their radiant glow further added to the hero's party's stronghold, instilling a sense of confidence and protection. Borat and Maximus, the valiant knights, stood tall at the front of the created entrances, taking their positions to face any adversaries head-on. In a swift and synchronized movement, Atrus positioned himself alongside Borat, his defensive prowess complementing Borat's own expertise in creating openings in the enemy vanguard. On the other side, Conan stood with Maximus, ready to capitalize on those openings and swiftly eliminate the enemy forces. This strategy, known as Strategy 7 by Maximus Gladius, was a quick response formation designed to counter sudden ambushes while the party rested or hid at a camp. It was just one of the many strategies they had developed over time, tailored to different situations and types of enemies they might encounter. In mere moments, the hero's party transformed the chaotic battlefield into a well-organized and coordinated assault. Each member knew their role and executed their part flawlessly, seamlessly integrating their strengths to overwhelm their attackers. Despite being suppressed at the levels of semi-saints and their ability to use the world energy as well as their respective saint rank skills since the moment they entered Babylon, all it took them was a minute to create a perfect battlefield. In the heart of Babylon's unforgiving realm, the clash of man and nature intensified. The battle of elements continued, each side seeking to dominate the other in this epic struggle for survival and supremacy. And as the dust settled and the battle wore on, the true strength of the hero's party would be put to the ultimate test. And finally, the member of the hero's party saw their attacker. Step. The female Dryad summoner stepped forward, her eyes gleaming with a mix of amusement and malice. She exuded an aura of ancient power, deeply connected to the essence of nature itself. Her hair was adorned with leaves, and her body had a faint green hue, giving her an otherworldly appearance. However, the face was covered in a black mask that hid her true appearance while the tree branches sprung from her back. The green leaves on them made it look like she had grown wings. Well, what a delightful surprise," she said, her voice carrying a melodic tone. "I must say, it's been quite some time since I've encountered a hero's party with such potential. The last one from 300 years ago were simply too unorganized." Maximus and Atrus exchanged wary glances. Whoever this enemy was, they knew that facing a skilled Dryad summoner in her natural domain was no easy feat. Her control over nature's elements could be devastating, and her ability to summon powerful creatures was unmatched. "Who are you?" Atrus demanded, trying to keep his composure despite the daunting situation. The Dryad summoner chuckled, swirling her fingers in the air as vines and roots emerged from the ground, curling around her like an ethereal shroud. "You may call me Sylvana," she replied, "and I am one of the guardians of this section of Babylon." So, you planned this ambush? Maximus asked, his tone stern. Of course, my dear. I had to test your mettle, see if you were worthy of traversing this realm of the gods. Or maybe I did that just because I was bored. Smiled Sylvana and replied enigmatically. You could have simply approached us peacefully. Borat retorted. We didn't come here for conflict, said Rolakin from the middle. Sylvana's smile widened. Ah, but where is the fun in that? A little ambush and few deaths never hurt anyone, she replied nonchalantly. The Dryad summoner's intentions were clear. She sought to test their strength and perhaps claim their lives for herself. With a flick of her wrist, the battlefield erupted into chaos. Vines snaked towards the hero's party, and creatures of the forest lunged from the shadows. The air crackled with wood elemental energy, and the ground trembled under the might of nature's fury. Maximus, Atreus, and their party members stood firm, facing the onslaught with unwavering determination. The onslaught of wood elemental creatures added a new layer of challenge to the already intense battle. These humanoid forms made of tree trunks and splintering spikes on their bodies moved with surprising agility, their massive limbs swinging with destructive force. Bang! Fists and bodies crashed against tall shields and walls made of mana cast by the two knights. Stab! With Maximus holding the line, the monsters that managed to breach the exit point were swiftly dealt with. Conan's light elemental swords sliced through the wooden limbs of the creatures with ease, while Maximus used his formidable strength and swordsmanship to overpower them. As the monsters attempted to charge through the narrow gap, Maximus took advantage of their clustered formation. He focused his elemental powers and unleashed a torrent of vines and roots that entangled the creatures, trapping them in place and leaving them vulnerable to Conan's attacks. It was barely 3 meters wide, and given their size, when Maximus covered almost half of it, they had to enter through that small gap. And Conan, being a light elemental seasoned swordsman, acted swiftly to cut down their legs, limbs, and decapitated them. On Borat's end, he did the same while cementing himself against such an onslaught. Bang! A massive fist made of bone-biting frost appeared and punched through the heart of one of these Lord-rank monsters as Khan simply created a big hole in its torso. But instead of waiting, he spoke to Borat. I will kill as many as I can. You get rid of anyone who passes through the gap in case I fail to kill them in a single strike. He spoke in a resolute tone. Yes, sir, replied Borat and quickly plunged his great sword. Rumble. As the ground rumbled and the vines emerged, a second layer of defense was created, reinforcing the permafrost walls that Atreus had erected earlier. The wooden walls with spikes acted as deadly barriers, impaling any of the wood elemental creatures that dared to approach. Borat's wood elemental skills were put to good use, manipulating the vines with precision and agility. With each movement of his hands, the vines acted as extensions of his will, striking down the enemies with deadly accuracy. The ground around the exit point became a battlefield of thorns and splintered wood, as the wood elemental creatures struggled to breach the defenses. In the sky, Speaky's fireballs streaked through the air, their fiery trails leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. The summoned firebirds swooped down from above, adding their elemental fire attacks to the mix. Vikat's metal halberds, controlled by his skilled summoning abilities, acted as deadly projectiles, piercing through the flying monsters with deadly precision. Elemental power and coordinated teamwork. The battlefield was filled with chaos and destruction. As the wood elemental creatures together, the hero's party unleashed a devastating display of elemental power and coordinated teamwork. The battlefield was filled with chaos and destruction, as the wood elemental creatures were met with a formidable force they had not anticipated. Jump! Khan jumped high and summoned over 40 icicles that swirled behind his back like levitating spears. Even as a semi-saint, Khan's current limit was over 2,000 at this point, but he intentionally chose to use only 5% of his maximum capacity, so that others won't get suspicious. Shoot! The volley of icicles shot like arrows, each one precisely targeting the heads and hearts of the monsters rampaging towards them. As Khan's icicles shot through the air, they struck with deadly precision, finding their marks in the heads and hearts of the rampaging wood elemental creatures. Each icicle acted like a lethal projectile, taking down multiple enemies with each shot. Khan's control over the ice element was masterful, and he displayed his prowess as a skilled marksman. At this moment, their strategy was working perfectly. Both entrances allowed them to whittle down the enemy numbers, and even the sky was covered by their allies, leaving them in an advantageous situation despite being under siege. However, Khan was not happy with this situation. Why? Because despite the number of monsters decreasing continuously, Khan sensed that they were revitalized by the life force. Their shattered and cleaved bodies were returning to the back of the armies and were being rebuilt in mere minutes. And using his hunter's domain, Khan sensed the source of this unending life force to be Sylvana. In the midst of the intense battle, Khan's unique abilities came to the forefront. His life sense skill, acquired from a legendary rank monster called Ashikvatika that they encountered in Verlassen, allowed him to detect the life force manipulation that Sylvana was employing. This skill, combined with his King of the Jungle ability, enabled him to sense the fluctuations in life force despite no longer possessing saintly powers or the ability to sense world energy. Maximus, who had his own heightened sensory abilities as hero of nature, also noticed the unusual regeneration phenomenon. The pressure was mounting as Khan and his companions fought against the formidable Lord rank monsters. The urgency of the situation was not lost on him. As their battle strategy continued, Khan's mind raced with thoughts and calculations. If this goes on, we will get tired out within an hour. All of them are Lord rank monsters, and even with our strategy, we will expend all of our mana and then we will be at her mercy. Khan acknowledged, recognizing the limitations of their current approach. The powerful enemies they faced were wearing them down, and their resources were depleting rapidly. Khan's mind churned with possibilities, his thoughts racing as he assessed their dire circumstances. I have plenty of skills that can overturn the situation within minutes. The problem is, Khan pondered, aware of the potential game-changing abilities at his disposal. He had techniques that could turn the tide of the battle swiftly, but there was a significant obstacle in his path. I can't use them without risking everyone questioning my identity. All of them are saints. They know the limitations of bloodlines, elemental affinity, and skill. So no one would buy in some bullshit excuse if I do anything that goes against my current persona as a brawler saint. Khan mused, realizing the complexity of his predicament. His true abilities, if unleashed, could potentially reveal his identity as the hero of darkness, and that was a secret he had to protect at all costs. As Khan's mind whirred with thoughts and potential solutions, Sylvana continued her crucial role, reviving the fallen creatures they were battling. Her efforts provided another headache. The relentless onslaught of enemies persisted, and the party's stamina was wearing thin. Time was of the essence, and Khan knew that a decisive move was necessary to shift the odds in their favor. But the constraints of his current persona as a brawler saint weighed heavily on him, forcing him to navigate a delicate balance between utilizing his true abilities and maintaining his cover. With each passing moment, Khan's internal struggle intensified, and he knew that the next move he made could determine the outcome of the battle. The pressure was mounting, but he was determined to find a solution that would ensure their survival without revealing his true identity. The best way to get rid of the snake is to cut its head. But the problem is all these monsters charging at us. Khan mused quietly under his breath, his eyes scanning the chaotic battlefield. He recognized the need for a strategic move that could disrupt the enemy's advance and potentially change the course of the battle. His thoughts were interrupted by the commanding voice of Maximus, who was in the midst of the fierce combat, using his shield and greatsword with precision, cleaved through a 5-meter-tall monster in a single swing. "A truce, let Pakawar take your place," Maximus ordered, his voice cutting through the chaos. Khan's brows furrowed in momentary surprise at the unexpected command. He considered the implications of the order, weighing the potential consequences. He knew that leaving his position in the formation could weaken their defense and expose them to even greater danger. "Go for the summoner." Maximus's voice carried the urgency of the situation, and Khan's mind raced as he contemplated his options. "This snake isn't strong enough to hold the front in my place." Khan replied, his voice laced with concern for the integrity of their formation. He understood the importance of maintaining a strong defensive line to withstand the onslaught of monsters. Don't worry, I will assist him. Svanna, the assassin, chimed in, her determination clear in her voice. With this support, Khan was free to act on his own. Bang! Amidst the chaos of the stampeding wood elemental creatures, Atrus became a whirlwind of motion. His figure darted and weaved through the onslaught with unparalleled agility. His movements a masterful display of martial prowess. Punches and kicks were delivered with precision, each movement calculated to maximize impact and minimize wasted effort. The close gaps between the creatures posed no hindrance to him. Instead, they seemed to serve as opportunities for him to demonstrate his exceptional reflexes. As tempting as it might have been to unleash flashy area of effect skills, Atrus understood the futility of such a display. With Sylvanna's ability to revive the fallen creatures, a more strategic approach was required. He focused on efficiency, swiftly incapacitating the creatures in his path while carving out a trail through the stampede. In the midst of the battle, Sylvanna, the druid summoner, took notice of Atrus' approach. Her expression twisted into a devilish smirk, a combination of amusement and arrogance. How naive! To think that just one warrior who isn't even a hero dares to charge at me. She taunted, her voice dripping with scorn. At that moment, the ground itself seemed to respond to Sylvanna's intentions. A violent tremor shook the earth, and from below erupted a colossal wall of trees and thorns, thick and impenetrable. It rose with an imposing force, forming an impromptu barrier that shielded Sylvanna from Atrus' advance. But the obstacle was not the only surprise in store. The air resonated with a thunderous roar that reverberated through the battlefield. From behind the newly formed barrier emerged a monstrous entity, a hulking hound-like creature composed of intertwining vines and menacing spikes. Its eyes gleamed with an eerie green light, and its very presence exuded a sense of primal power. The massive hound stood tall, a towering guardian created from the very elements of nature. Its appearance was both awe-inspiring and formidable, a testament to Sylvanna's mastery over her druidic abilities. Atrus came to a halt, his eyes narrowing as he assessed the formidable obstacle before him. The battle had taken a dramatic turn, and he now faced a challenge unlike any he had encountered before. With a focused gaze, Atrus braced himself, ready to confront the monstrous guardian and prove that even without flashy skills, his determination and skills were more than enough to overcome whatever obstacle stood in his way. Oh, come on. Why does it always have to be a dog? I'm a dog person. I don't enjoy killing monsters that look like them, spoke Atrus, rolling his eyes in exasperation. Come here, puppy. Let daddy put a leash on you. He spoke and gestured to the hound with his left hand, as if challenging it for a bout. Thud! The monstrous hound charged relentlessly at Atrus, its sheer size and power causing the very ground to tremble beneath its mighty footsteps. As it closed the distance, the tension in the battlefield heightened, and a palpable sense of anticipation hung in the air. Yet, despite the impending threat, Atrus remained resolute and unwavering. His expression shifted from determined to oddly serene, a hint of confidence dancing in his eyes. He seemed almost at peace as he stood his ground, a stark contrast to the chaos unfolding around him. Boom! Then, in a sudden and explosive burst of energy, Atrus unleashed his hidden strength. With a forceful stomp that reverberated through the earth, the ground beneath him trembled and crumbled. It was as if the very earth yielded to his power, acknowledging his command. But the display of his might didn't end there. As the ground shattered, Atrus channeled his energy into a profound display of elemental mastery. A surge of permafrost erupted from the point of impact, radiating outward like a tidal wave. Its icy tendrils engulfed everything in its path, freezing both the charging monsters and the very air around them. Shatter. Crumble. The monsters, once formidable and relentless, now stood frozen and fragile, their bodies crystallized in an icy prison. The very fabric of their being succumbed to the freezing onslaught, shattering like delicate glass upon impact. The hound, too, felt the icy grip of Atreus' power. The permafrost spread across its form, encasing its legs in a frozen embrace. The once thunderous charge slowed to a crawl, each movement weighed down by the relentless grip of the ice. It was a stunning display of control over the elements, a testament to Atreus' mastery over his abilities. As the frozen remnants of the monsters fell to the ground and the hound struggled against its icy restraints, Atreus stood amidst the aftermath, his affirming smile still in place. "TCH, not bad. It looks like he has some strong skills," spoke Sylvana and looked at Atreus. "Do you want to challenge me, Fenrirborn? I guess it should entertain me for a WHI." But before the dryad could complete her words, "Grab!" A figure appeared right behind her and grabbed her neck. "Shut up!" Crack! Without making any unnecessary and flashy moves, the real Atreus grabbed and snapped Sylvana's neck. And so fell the first enemy they faced in God's domain. In an instant, the tension that had filled the battlefield dissipated. The towering form of Sylvana, once so formidable, crumpled to the ground, her life extinguished by Atreus's decisive action. The party members stood in stunned silence, the weight of the moment settling upon them. The first enemy they had faced in the land of the gods had fallen, a testament to their resilience, teamwork, and the unwavering determination of the hero of darkness. As the dust settled and the battlefield fell into an eerie calm, the significance of their victory became clear. The challenges of God's domain were formidable, but with strategic prowess and the strength of their teamwork, they had overcome the first trial that the realm had thrown at them. The aftermath of the intense battle left the party members collectively exhaling a breath of relief. Even with their heightened status as semi-saints, the sheer numbers of the wood elemental creatures had posed a significant challenge. However, their joy did not last long. Boom! A massive green aura erupted within the battlefield and everyone was shoved a dozens of meters afar. Amidst the easing tension, the sudden resurgence of activity caught everyone off guard. The fallen monsters, which had been scattered across the battlefield, began to stir once more. Their movements were eerie and unnatural, as if they were being guided by an unseen force towards that Yuptian of green aura. Slowly, almost deliberately, the remnants of the creatures began to crawl and slither towards Sylvana, who was the very source of that aura, as if drawn by some invisible magnetic pull. Khan's reaction was one of bemused understanding. Amidst the confusion, his words cut through the unfolding scenario like a blade. "TCH, should have been obvious. It went too easy." Khan's voice held a note of sardonic amusement, his keen perception allowing him to see through the facade of victory. The plot twist, while unexpected, did not surprise him given his experience in battles. The realization of what was happening sent a wave of shock and confusion through the party members. Rumble. Soon, a towering figure started rising from the green pillar of aura and emanated an intense killing intent. Sylvana's transformation into a colossal, 200-meter-tall version of herself was an astonishing spectacle, her anger and power radiating from her immense form. The unexpected turn of events had caught everyone off guard, and the tension on the battlefield was reignited. As Sylvana's colossal form loomed over the battlefield once more, the party members braced themselves for the challenges that lay ahead. The tide of battle had shifted once again, and the true extent of the trials they would face in the land of the gods was becoming increasingly apparent. Sylvana's voice rang out in a thunderous shout, her fury and frustration echoing across the battlefield. "You mongrels pests! I shall show you what happens when you mess with me." Maximus, his voice firm and resolute, stepped forward to address the towering figure before them. "Lady or tree lady, it was you who attacked us first. We didn't do anything to earn your wrath. So stop acting like a victim all of a sudden." Amidst the tense exchange, Conan's voice cut through the air, laden with fear and trepidation. "She's a witch. Burn her at the stake." Conan's words were fueled by the shock of witnessing Sylvana's resurrection, an act that defied the boundaries of what he had known. Sylvanas' response was swift, her voice dripping with a mix of authority and indignation. You dare undermine me? I guess I was too benevolent to hold back on you lot. A sense of unease settled over the party members as Sylvanas' words reverberated through the air. The power she wielded, coupled with her seemingly unstoppable resurgence, was a force to be reckoned with. Amidst the tension, Atrus's voice cut through the charged atmosphere with an air of nonchalance. Ugh, I guess the second boss phase starts now. Atrus's tone carried a hint of boredom, a reflection of his familiarity with the escalating challenges they faced. The battlefield had transformed into a crucible of trials, and the party members were bracing themselves for whatever awaited them in this relentless gauntlet. The stakes had been raised once again, and the party members found themselves confronting an adversary whose power seemed boundless. As the exchange of words and the undercurrent of tension continued, they prepared to face the next stage of the battle, ready to prove their mettle against the formidable forces that sought to test their resolve. Sylvanas' transformation was nothing short of awe-inspiring as she assumed the colossal form of a 200-meter-tall wood elemental creature. Her voice boomed across the battlefield, carrying a mix of fury and determination. You all shall pay for that transgression. Her words reverberated like a dire warning, the sheer force of her presence commanding attention. But amidst the unfolding spectacle, a surprising twist took the party members by surprise. Yes, you all shall pay. Atrus's voice echoed, mirroring Sylvanas' declaration. Atrus, rather than opposing Sylvana, stood atop her immense form as if he had aligned himself with her cause. His unexpected show of solidarity with the towering creature raised eyebrows and puzzled expressions among the party members. Confusion rippled through the ranks, and Maximus, ever the voice of reason, voiced the question that was on everyone's minds. But why are you standing on her side? Maximus's expression mirrored the collective puzzlement of the entire heroes' party. Atrus's response was delivered with an air of nonchalance that seemed almost out of place given the gravity of the situation. I always pick the side of the strong. Bang! Before anyone could fully process Atrus's unexpected alliance, Sylvana's towering form surged forward in a relentless attack, her fury channeled into a devastating assault against the very figure who had seemingly aligned himself with her. Strategy 13. Maximus's decisive call echoed across the chaotic battlefield, his voice cutting through the turmoil with unwavering authority. This battle strategy was specifically made for instances where they faced a titanic monster out of nowhere. As if in perfect synchronization, the party members sprang into action, each executing their designated roles with precision. The calculated distance they maintained from the towering titan allowed them a strategic advantage, enabling them to target its vulnerable legs. Awakens' role was pivotal as he began casting a series of debuff spells, each carefully chosen to weaken the titan's movements. The arcane energies swirled around him, his focus unyielding as he worked to slow down their colossal adversary. Decat, his form now that of an eerie black raven adorned with luminous yellow tattoos, moved with an ethereal grace. His presence was haunting yet mesmerizing, his aura suffused with an otherworldly power that lent a supernatural edge to his movements. Speaky, too, underwent a transformation, his figure morphing into that of a phoenix wreathed in flames. Though smaller than his previous manifestation, the mere fact that he could summon such a form at this juncture was a testament to his prowess. The phoenix's fiery onslaught held the potential to decimate thousands, a force that could turn the tide of battle in their favor. She feels like she's almost a saint, said Maximus with an incredulous countenance. Coordinated attacks unfolded with seamless precision. The assault focused on the Titan's massive hands, with the party members converging from both the front and the back. Borat and Zavaliz, displaying their martial prowess, targeted the Titan's legs with calculated strikes. Atrus, ever the observant strategist, was quick to analyze the situation and offer his insight, because she is indeed as strong as a first-stage saint at the moment. Although I detect that this transformation won't last for more than half an hour, it's enough to kill us all, he replied. Maximus, his gaze unwavering, addressed Atrus with a firm nod. The weight of their predicament hung heavy in the air as they exchanged these crucial words. "You remember what you have to do, right?" Maximus's query was met with a resolute affirmation from Atrus. "Yes." With an air of determination, Maximus began his transformation, his very being undergoing a profound metamorphosis that resonated with his role as the party's leader. The energy that enveloped him was tangible, a manifestation of his unwavering resolve. "Divine ability!" he roared. "Inazumi's champion!" His battle cry echoed like a roar. As the incantation echoed through the battlefield, Maximus's transformation unfolded before their eyes. His form expanded, elemental energies swirling around him in a mesmerizing display. In an instant, the knight hero's body, along with his weapon, shield, and armor, began to grow exponentially as multiple elements of reality coalesced and engulfed him. What transpired was an unbelievable transformation. Within just 15 seconds, the hero of nature had become a being equal in height to Sylvana, standing at a towering 200 meters tall. His eyes were like lightning, his arms and shoulders transformed into the largest tree trunks in the world, and his legs turned into the hardest of metals. His once golden hair now blazed like the sun. In his hand, the 150-meter-tall and 30-meter-wide shield turned dark gray, carrying both earth and metal elements, while his 50-meter-long greatsword became a destructive combination of lightning and darkness. Khan, his thoughts a whirlwind of observation, couldn't help but interject with a mix of admiration and playful jest. "Why is his transformation so badass? It always gives me that Pacific Rim vibe." The tension was momentarily lifted by Khan's light-hearted comment, a brief respite in the midst of their dire circumstances. "Go, Gypsy Danger!" cheered Khan like a fanboy. With Maximus now in his awe-inspiring Titan form, the battlefield was set for an epic clash that would determine the outcome of this monumental confrontation. Thud! The air crackled with anticipation as Maximus charged forward, his shield and sword poised for action. And all that remained to add to this situation was an epic battle background music. As the rest of the group engaged in a concerted effort to divert Sylvana's attention, Khan silently vanished from the battlefield, his movements shrouded in a cloak of stealth. "You leave me no choice," spoke Maximus in his titanic form. Slash! A resounding slash echoed as Khan swung his greatsword, aimed at severing Sylvana's right arm. However, his strike only managed to graze her, a testament to her formidable defensive capabilities. Dang! With unwavering determination, Maximus sprang into action. He lunged forward, using his shield as a battering ram to propel the colossal Dryad summoner nearly 20 meters away with a powerful crash. Boom! Explosions of fireballs erupted from behind as Speaky's fiery projectiles found their mark, scorching Sylvana's form. Simultaneously, Vikat's raven-like metal claws, honed to a lethal edge, tore into and sliced across her left thigh. From the ground, Borat and the others joined the fray, their concerted strikes adding to the onslaught. Maximus, unrelenting, continued to land fatal blows in rapid succession. However, in the midst of this ferocious battle, Sylvana's resilience proved astonishing. Despite the onslaught of attacks, her severed limbs and arms swiftly regenerated and reattached themselves, akin to veins reweaving into her form. The forested surroundings, rich with vitality, provided her an ample wellspring of resources. Drawing sustenance from the very trees to which she was bound, Sylvana bolstered her strength, healed her wounds, and regenerated her body. In essence, unless confronted by a genuine saint or a legendary rank monster, Sylvana's assured victory remained unchallenged. "You can't defeat me with your weak strength and skills," declared Sylvana with a grin. Bang! This time, Maximus crashed against Sylvana with his shield again, but for the first time. The Dryad did not budge a bit or was even slightly moved from her place. Damn it! Has she already become a saint-level being? Even a first-stage saint will have a problem facing me when I'm using Inazumi's champion as a semi-saint. Yet she seems completely unaffected. Spoke Maximus to his team members. "Give up, hero of nature. I'm invincible in these lands," spoke Sylvana with unadulterated confidence. Swoosh! In a sudden burst of blue light, a diminutive figure caught Sylvana's attention. An agile wolfkin, standing at a mere 3 meters in height, soared into the air with remarkable speed. Khan, who had momentarily vanished from the battlefield, had now reappeared. Positioned strategically behind Maximus's towering shield, he obscured Sylvana's line of sight. Seizing the opportunity, Atrus swiftly descended from above, his form now adorned with the fierce visage of a wolf's head. Fenrir's rage. Khan's voice resonated with unwavering determination as he uttered the incantation. In a breathtaking display, a colossal wolf head, formed of unyielding permafrost, materialized directly above Sylvana, its immense form spanning an astonishing 20 meters in height. The appearance of the colossal wolf head was a manifestation of one of Khan's rarely used brawler-class warrior skills, a technique he had learned long ago but had refrained from deploying, even during the tribal tourney where its one-shot potential could have been advantageous. Its drawback was the extended charging time, leaving Khan vulnerable to interruption. Yet this moment was different. Hiding behind the imposing shield held by Maximus, Khan had seized the perfect opportunity. Maximus had engaged Sylvana in battle, ensuring her focus remained elsewhere, allowing Atrus to approach undetected. The immense, cerulean wolf head, its red eyes radiating a chilling aura of bloodlust, materialized before Sylvana with an astonishing impact. The sheer sight of it was enough to paralyze her, an overwhelming surge of terror coursing through her being. Frozen in place, Sylvana was gripped by the visceral dread that emanated from Khan's formidable killing intent, her ability to react or defend herself stifled by the sheer intensity of the moment. Snap! With a resounding finality, the colossal wolf head descended upon Sylvana, its massive jaws snapping shut and severing her head from her body. The once formidable Dryad summoner met her end in a swift and gruesome manner. Her reign of terror abruptly concluded. Bang! As the lifeless body of Sylvana collapsed to the ground, the thousands of trees that had been a part of her titanic form toppled and fell, their connections severed as her skill was destroyed. No longer bound by her influence, the forest regained its natural state. In the aftermath of the battle, Sylvana's true form was revealed, her once imposing stature reduced to her original size. She lay vulnerable and defeated before the hero's party, the culmination of their strategic efforts and unwavering determination. Unlike before when the battle began and Sylvana had the upper hand, now she was at the mercy of hero's party. Khan and Maximus exchanged a significant glance, their curiosity piqued by Sylvana's existence. Eager to uncover more about the god's domain and its enigmatic protectors, they decided to confront her about it. You mentioned that you're one of the guardians. How many guardians are there? Maximus inquired, his voice laced with a mixture of determination and intrigue. Sylvana's response was defiant, her resolve unshaken even in the face of defeat. I won't talk, even if you resort to threats or violence. A cold smile played at the corners of Maximus's lips, his tone taking on a more ominous edge. Who said anything about killing you? There are other ways to make you talk. He leaned closer, his gaze unwavering as he continued. We could simply subject you to a little persuasion. We have time on our hands, and trust me, we won't hesitate to use it. Sylvana's defiance did not waver, her resolute demeanor holding firm. Try as you might, I will never reveal anything, no matter the methods you employ. Maximus's expression remained stoic, his response calculated. Very well, if that's your choice. With those words, his attention shifted to a particular member of their party, one whose reputation for sadistic tendencies was well known. Glowing tattoos and icicles adorned this individual, and the mere anticipation of their involvement sent a chill down the spines of everyone present. The hero's party collectively averted their gazes, their unspoken acknowledgement of the impending ordeal casting a somber shadow over the scene. At this moment, the entire hero's party averted their gazes towards a certain sadist psychopath. After everyone suddenly gazed at the back of their group, at a 3-meter-tall brawler Saint. In response, a certain torture expert among their group was wondering at everyone else intently staring at him. Gasp! "Why are you guys looking at me?" asked the flabbergasted Khan and gasped in disbelief. "I am the most gentlemanly person there ever has been," he stated with an elegant and friendly smile. Silence. The surroundings turned dead silent as everyone looked at Atrus with a poker face. His virtuous claims. Nobody believed that. Sigh. Khan sighed helplessly and spoke. "And it had to be a woman. No wonder people complain that I'm too hateful towards women since the beginning of the first arc. I either beat them to death or torture them till they beg me for death." He spoke to himself with a defeated countenance. "Well, it's not my fault that 99% of the women I meet are either psychos or want to kill me. But at this rate, I am going to get labeled as a misogynist." He thought and accepted his fate. Crack. Atrus's fingers cracked in a chilling display of anticipation, his deliberate movements carrying an eerie air of impending action. He extended his arms, his deliberate steps bringing him closer to the incapacitated Dryad summoner, Sylvana, who was still reeling from the backlash of her defeated skill. "Hello there, Bamboo Lady. Let's spend some quality time together," spoke the Fenrirborn with an ominous smirk. On the other end, Sylvana's entire life flashed before her eyes. Sylvana's fear was palpable, her trembling form a stark testament to the dire situation she found herself in. The memories of her previous encounter with Atrus flashed through her mind, a brutal reminder of the merciless fate that awaited her. First, it was him breaking her neck with his bare claw, and then the image of Atrus' summoned wolf head snapping her neck and tearing her head from her body was etched in Sylvana's memory, a haunting reminder of the depths of cruelty he was capable of. Now, facing him once more, his wicked grin and ominous words served as a grim harbinger of the torment that lay ahead. Noticing her scared and shuddering figure, Atrus replied with a benign smile, "Don't worry, I'll make it slow and painful." 1 hour later, a chilling silence descended as Sylvana's anguished cries came to an abrupt and harrowing halt. The aftermath of the torment inflicted upon her was evident in the blood that seeped from her eye sockets, the life force draining away along with her defiance. The scene was one of gruesome brutality, a testament to Atrus's merciless resolve. Her limbs severed and her nails crushed beneath his unrelenting heel, Sylvana's agony was unyielding, her form contorted in the throes of excruciating suffering. In a final, grisly act, the blue wolfkin forcibly extracted her eyes from their sockets, a macabre tableau that defied the boundaries of cruelty. The potion that followed was a cruel twist, a concoction that ignited an inferno of torment within her very being. The sensation was beyond the realm of imagination, a fusion of searing needles and molten fire that consumed her from within, a symphony of pain that defied description. What no one knew was that this potion was an extremely diluted version of Jormungandr's venom that Khan recently added in his list of torturing techniques. Given Sylvana's constitution as a dryad and her mastery over life force, it wasn't enough to kill her in a short time. But her natural resistance to the venom caused a chain reaction of mortifying pain that ran across her entire body. Tremble. Sylvana's body trembled, racked by convulsions as the potion's vile effects tore through her. The boundaries of her endurance were shattered, her willpower no match for the unrelenting agony that now held her in its merciless grip. Sylvana's torment had reached a realm of suffering that surpassed any previous conception. The methods employed by Atrus were a twisted symphony of pain, an orchestra of agony that pushed the boundaries of her endurance far beyond what she had ever imagined. "Argh!" wailed Sylvana. She felt like being priced by thousands of metals while all of her muscles and fleshly organs were being incinerated by hot lava, a deadly combination that drove her insane with every passing moment. "Shoo! Stop overreacting. We're just beginning." Khan's words slithered with a sinister edge, a chilling accompaniment to the unrelenting torment being wrought upon Sylvana. Her regenerative abilities offered a cruel irony, denying her the mercy of unconsciousness even as her body was ravaged by excruciating pain. Atrus manipulated this grim reality to his advantage, exploiting her own blessings to amplify her suffering, creating a cycle of torment from which there was no escape. Before, Sylvana thought she could withstand any form of torture or humiliation. But now, she wished to be freed from this agonizing and traumatizing punishment. "Wait, I'll talk. Please stop." Amidst the aura of impending dread, Sylvana's resolve crumbled, and the torrent of information they sought poured forth from her lips. Her voice quivered as she revealed the intricate details of what lay ahead in the gods' domain and what type of powers they'd face going forward. Her words a desperate bid to appease the impending torment that loomed over her. But even as she shared her knowledge, a palpable weight pressed upon her. The cruel reality of a binding spell restricting her from divulging certain critical information. Sylvana's voice trailed off, her expression one of frustration and helplessness as she conveyed the limitations imposed upon her. She spoke of the Guardians, their numbers and powers, her eyes reflecting the depths of her knowledge. She revealed the pathway to the altar of the gods, a crucial detail that would guide their journey through this perilous realm. However, her tone held a note of resignation, an acknowledgement that despite her revelations, their path would still lead to confronting the Guardians directly. In the midst of this intense exchange, Khan's voice cut through the tension with an unexpected question, his words carrying a touch of levity that contrasted starkly with the gravity of their situation. And finally, after they were convinced that Sylvana gave them the truth, Maximus made an understanding nod at Atrus. "Do you know what the best way to a woman's heart is?" Khan's inquiry hung in the air, a surprising interjection that momentarily shifted the focus from their grim circumstances. "What?" Sylvana's response was laced with weariness, drained of the nonchalance and confidence she had previously displayed. Her voice held a hint of exhaustion as she replied, her spirit broken by the hour of torture she had endured at Khan's hands. And right then, stab! Khan stabbed Sylvan's chest with his wolf claws and pulled her heart out with an enigmatic and charming smile. Like this, a chilling and eerie atmosphere seemed to settle over the surroundings as Atrus executed his gruesome act, his actions invoking a visceral sense of horror that hung heavy in the air. Sylvana's voice, strained and feeble, pierced through the grotesque scene. "You will pay for this soon," she warned, her words a desperate echo of defiance. "Oh, I'm quaking in my boots. You'll wait for me in the depths of hell." "Yada yada yada," responded Atrus with a callous, mocking tone. His taunts dripped with sarcasm, a stark juxtaposition against the gruesome tableau before them. Perplexed, Sylvana's expression twisted into a bemused smile. "What are you even talking about?" she inquired, a note of confusion underlying her fading strength. As the grip of life gradually slipped from her, her form descending toward the ground, Sylvana uttered her final words with a mix of resignation and dark irony. She whispered with whatever strength she had left and made a haunting declaration that seemed to reverberate through the very essence of the grim aftermath. "This is hell." With Sylvana's lifeless body sprawled before them, a sense of somber relief settled over the hero's party, their breaths carrying the weight of their recent ordeal. Awakens' empathetic sentiment broke the silence. "I almost feel sorry for her," he mused, his words carrying a note of unexpected compassion. Atrus's response cut through the atmosphere like a chilling breeze, his voice laced with a sinister edge. "Oh, really? That's touching. You should have spoken up earlier. I could have arranged a joint torture session with her, just for you." His eyes gleamed with an unsettling light, his grin sending shivers down the spine of those who heard his words. Awakens' demeanor turned ashen, his memories of Atrus's torturous tendencies suddenly vivid and unwelcome. Shifting his attention to Speaky, Atrus issued a command that hung heavy in the air. "Hey, Peacock, burn her body." His tone held an unmistakable undercurrent of threat, casting a dark shadow over the fire summoner. Speaky's response was swift, his compliance tinged with a palpable unease as he conjured flames to consume Sylvana's remains. In the dynamic of the hero's party, Maximus may have held the position of de facto leader, but Atrus loomed as a dominant figure of authority in his own right. His role as both enforcer and punisher was undeniable, enforcing compliance through fear and coercion. The chilling specter of his methods hung over them, ensuring their adherence to his commands through a potent mix of the mark of servitude and the ever-present threat of excruciating suffering. In this crucible of power dynamics, Atrus emerged as a formidable force, wielding his own version of leadership within their ranks. Amidst the aftermath of their harrowing encounter with Sylvana, the heroes' party found themselves in a moment of respite, reflecting on the challenges that lay ahead. "Can't believe that even here, we're not going to get things easily done." Maximus voiced his frustration, the weariness of their ongoing struggles evident in his words. Khan's response held a touch of wry humor, tinged with a hint of irony. "Yeah, I'd rather face monsters in the thousands than these guys. At least we know what to expect from monsters. Even the information that Dryad gave us, I don't think we should completely rely on it." The conversation took a more serious turn as Khan delved into their predicament, highlighting the unequal nature of their battles, and the fact that we have to face others like her, especially when they can all temporarily become saints while we're all stuck at the semi-saint rank. Feels exhausting. Oh my goodness. Look at the handicap you have. 10 semi-saints, 2 of them heroes, and they're forced to fight against saints. This world is so unfair. Rathnar's voice interjected into Khan's thoughts, a blend of amusement and sarcasm coloring his words. The exchange between Khan and Rathnar continued, as the latter kept taunting and berating Khan. "Just shut up, old man. I'm not worried about that. I'm just concerned that there might come a situation where I will be forced to use my other skills that go against my established identity as Atrus." Khan's frustration was palpable, his voice laced with an air of exasperation. He was grappling with the need to maintain his facade while possessing powers that far exceeded his outward persona. "Even as a semi-saint, I was fully capable of killing her in minutes, but I had to hold back and fight like a mob player just to hide my real strength. Others face problems because they're not strong enough. I face problems because I'm too strong, to a level that I struggle to control my strength." In his admission, Khan touched on the paradoxical nature of his situation. While others might be struggling due to their limitations, his struggle stemmed from the excess of his strength, compelling him to navigate a delicate balance between revealing his true capabilities and adhering to the persona he had crafted. Khan fell silent and absorbed all the details Sylvana provided about the peninsula in the god's domain. As the information flowed, a clearer picture emerged. Within this particular peninsula, a creation of the god of nature, there existed a total of 7 guardians, Sylvana being one of them. Each guardian was assigned to protect a distinct perimeter, forming a series of concentric circular layers akin to barriers. And Sylvana, despite her formidable capabilities, was categorized as the weakest among them. Consequently, her responsibility lay in guarding the outermost layer, which predominantly comprised natural elements such as trees and the environment itself. However, this revelation signaled that the challenges ahead were far from over. The hero's party would have to confront an array of guardians, each possessing unique powers and abilities. These guardians would hold sway over environments that favored their techniques, elements, and strengths, creating a series of distinct battles for the party to navigate. In this initial confrontation, their triumph over Sylvana hinged upon the flawless teamwork and synergy displayed between Atrus and Maximus. Without their calculated tactics, leveraging the element of surprise and exploiting Sylvana's own abilities against her, the task of defeating her would have been insurmountable. Their strategy was successful in this instance, but as they progressed through the successive layers of guardians, the challenges would escalate exponentially. The enemies awaiting them would grow in strength and resilience, leaving the hero's party with a stark choice. Either defeat these formidable adversaries or find a means to escape their clutches in order to advance toward God's altar. Among these guardians, one name loomed with particular dread: the final guardian, the entity Sylvana had spoken of. The party's path to God's altar seemingly required their confrontation with this immensely powerful foe. Sylvana's tone suggested that this guardian was an almost insurmountable challenge, an opponent whose defeat appeared to be the sole key to accessing the altar. Her almost jubilant mention of this guardian's name underscored the gravity of the impending battle and the potential threat it posed to the hero's party's mission. Within a castle-like towing construct at the opposite end of the peninsula was a chamber filled with visible and vibrant divine essence. Darkness enveloped the space, accentuated by the presence of 7 colossal crystals arranged in a circular formation. Each crystal emanated its own distinct hue, casting an eerie glow that illuminated the room's interior. Crack, shatter. Abruptly, the tranquility was shattered as the green crystal, vibrant and captivating, fragmented into pieces that littered the floor in a cascade of destruction. Creak. Amidst this shattered display, the chamber's entrance creaked open, admitting the presence of a tall and imposing figure. Obscured by shadows, the being's features remained veiled, but their emotions were palpable through the intensity of their gaze. A mixture of disappointment and smoldering anger that filled the air around them. "Oh, Sylvana, how many times did I tell you to not overestimate yourself and underestimate your opponents just because of your unique powers?" spoke this tyrannical figure with a slight exasperation hinted in their tone. A hero's party is bound to be filled with powerful and knowledgeable people who could find loops in our powers and defeat people like you and the other guardians. Your arrogance has caused your downfall again, and here I stand, looking at your shattered core," he declared in a somber voice. With a weighty solemnity, he activated a circular bracelet-like artifact adorning his hand, its surface pulsating with latent power. His voice resonated with authority as he communicated his message. "Sylvana is dead. Her demise signals their approach. And now, their footsteps draw closer to you." He spoke in an authoritative tone. From the other end of this mysterious communication, a ghastly, masculine voice responded firmly, acknowledging the command. "I shall prepare accordingly, my lord." Satisfaction tinged the figure's somber demeanor. The gravity of the situation demanded swift and decisive action. "Excellent. Ensure absolute surprise and eliminate any possibility of their anticipation or counteraction. We must kill all of them, including the hero of nature this time." As his words lingered in the air, the figure's eyes radiated a profound golden gleam, a manifestation of his terrifying killing intent as he revealed their reason: to leave this hell. After passing through the doorway, the hero's party found themselves in an entirely new landscape. The scene before them was desolate and grim. Barren lands stretched out, the soil blackened and devoid of life. A haunting silence pervaded the surroundings, where once mighty trees stood withered and lifeless. Moving forward, they found themselves navigating terrain that resembled a vast canyon. Towering rock formations enclosed them, forming walls that hemmed them in. Strangely, the sides of these imposing canyon walls featured numerous stone gargoyle heads, their expressions frozen in eerie grimaces. As they advanced cautiously through this unsettling environment, Maximus voiced the realization that had settled upon them all. From what Sylvana divulged, it seems the second guardian shares a kinship with darkness element. Tensions ran high among the party members, each step a reminder of the imminent danger they faced in confronting yet another guardian, one who harnessed the power of darkness. Yawn. In the midst of this tense environment, Khan's casual yawn cut through the tension like a blade. "Great. Wake me up after he shows up," he quipped, conjuring an ice slab and reclining upon it as if it were a comfortable mattress. With an air of nonchalance, he declared his intention to catch up on some rest. "From now on, we will use strategy 3. Meanwhile, Maximus took charge, issuing clear instructions that the group instinctively understood. Strategy 3 was invoked, a tactical formation that had been drilled into them through rigorous training and past battles. Svanna assumed her role as a scout, surveying the terrain for potential traps or lurking dangers. Rolekin and Speaky focused on their protective duties, conjuring barriers to shield the group. The remaining members moved in unison, each with their designated task. Maximus and Borat formed the protective front and back of the party's formation, their steadfast presence guarding against potential threats. Conan and Zavaliz took positions on the flanks, serving as the primary offensive force. Pakawar and Vikat lent support from a distance, their skills enhancing the group's effectiveness. And in a display of stark contrast, Atrus seemed to have taken the instructions of Strategy 3 quite literally, his icy resting place a testament to his carefree approach. And finally, Atrus was tasked with sleeping soundly. Their party treaded carefully, a palpable sense of apprehension coloring their every step. The desolation of the surroundings seemed to be mirrored within their own minds, uncertainty gnawing at their confidence. The absence of the sun added an eerie dimension to the already unsettling atmosphere. As they traversed the dead lands and the mountains, they couldn't shake off the feeling of being lost. The unfamiliar landscape played tricks on their perception, heightening their sense of disorientation. Boom! Suddenly, an explosive shockwave shattered the uneasy calm. The resounding boom jolted them into immediate action, and Maximus wasted no time in issuing orders. With a swift command, the party rallied together, sprinting toward the source of the detonation through the rugged terrain. Minutes later, they arrived at a colossal crater, its depths littered with metallic spears resembling macabre thorns. Amidst this gruesome landscape, a figure impaled upon those brutal spikes came into view. Blood trickled down her form, a testament to the severity of her wounds. "Everyone, hold your positions," Maximus commanded, his voice carrying a mix of caution and concern. The party formed a protective perimeter around the scene, vigilant for any sign of danger or an impending attack. It was clear that their journey was fraught with not only physical trials, but also unexpected encounters that demanded their constant vigilance. "No, Svanna!" Vikat's anguished cry echoed through the air as he rushed towards the gaping hole. "Stop! It's a tra." Maximus's warning was abruptly cut off as an unforeseen horror unfolded before them. Stab! Stab! In a split second, as if sprung from the very earth itself, dozens of long spikes, each spanning 3 meters in length, erupted from the ground. They struck with deadly precision, skewering Vikat mercilessly and piercing his heart and brain simultaneously. The Tengu warrior's life was extinguished in a harrowing instant, mirroring the cruel fate that had befallen Svanna just moments earlier. The party's shock was palpable, a collective gasp of horror and disbelief mingling with the air. The relentless and unpredictable nature of their challenges became abundantly clear, a stark reminder that their journey through the Guardian's realms was fraught with peril beyond their imagination. Seriously, to walk into such an obvious trap when you haven't even made sure that the assailant isn't present nearby. Is this really the group that defeated Sylvana? A ghastly and condescending voice reverberated through the air, carrying with it an air of malevolent amusement. "My lord will be so disappointed to learn that a bunch of untrained warriors killed one of the Guardians." The voice continued, its taunting tone echoing in the desolate landscape. "Then why don't you show up since we are but insolent idiots, your archmagnificency?" Atrus retorted, his voice laced with a mixture of defiance and sarcasm as he roused himself from his icy makeshift bed. "Do not goad me. Such efforts are futile. As long as you are here, your lives are at my mercy." The voice replied ominously, its words dripping with a cold and calculated malice. "And I am a very persistent individual. The only time any one of you sees me is when your final moments have come." The voice concluded before fading into an unsettling silence. With the weight of these dire words hanging heavily in the air, the party was left to grapple with the looming threat of an adversary who seemed to hold their fate in his grasp. The party fell into a heavy silence, the weight of their fallen comrades and the looming threat of their adversary bearing down on them. Grief and shock mingled in the air as they retrieved the lifeless bodies of their friends. Speaky and Awakens seemed to have known Svanna the longest and seemed greatly affected by her demise. Pakawar was disheartened by Vikat's death since both were apparently sparring buddies over the years. Although Conan, Zavaliz and Borat were not that close to the fallen comrades, kept quiet in respect of their fallen team members. Maximus too was silent and had not shown any emotion, as if contemplating something. As a leader, He was in a situation where he had to come with new plans to face upcoming dangers and prepare for more ambushes, since two of their best reconnaissance members were now taken down by the mysterious assailant that hid in the darkness of these lands. It was evident that he would attack them again, and this time, even more lives could be lost. Hence, Maximus was in a situation where he could not even display a semblance of empathy for the two comrades he had known for close to 9 years at this point. Among them, Atrus remained unaffected by the loss, his countenance revealing no signs of sorrow. He assessed the situation with a pragmatic detachment, analyzing the missteps that had led to their comrade's demise. An assassin who excels in stealth and finding traps fell victim to her own oversight. And a long-range warrior let his emotions cloud his judgment, leading to his downfall. Both paid the price for their mistakes while ironically dying to the very thing they were supposed to be good at. Khan's thoughts echoed a sentiment of calculated analysis. Then, breaking the silence, Khan announced his intentions. "I will go and scout the area. Ensure the group's security from potential attacks," he stated. "Wait, that's an unnecessary risk. Staying together has more chances of our survival. This terrain is the enemy's territory. You will be walking towards your death." He implored Khan to not leave. At Maximus' cautious response, Khan insisted, "Don't worry. I'm experienced in dealing with this kind of threat. It's better if I go alone. Others might inadvertently become obstacles." With that, Khan left, the tension in the group palpable as they grappled with the challenges of navigating a treacherous and unfamiliar environment, while facing an adversary whose capabilities seemed tailor-made to exploit their weaknesses. 30 minutes later, "How did you find me?" spoke a 5-meter-tall creature with 2 bat-like wings and a snake-like tail. The tension-filled silence was shattered by the appearance of a formidable figure. Towering at 5 meters tall, this creature bore a menacing visage, 2 bat-like wings extended from its back, while a snake-like tail coiled beneath it. Bull-like horns adorned its head, and its muscular, humanoid form exuded an aura of raw power. In response to its question, Atrus remained unfazed. "How did I find you?" he echoed, his demeanor steady. The creature's response was laden with aggression. "Well, it doesn't matter. Your fate is sealed just like the others," spoke this massive figure. "What is your name?" asked Khan. "And why do you bother asking? It's not like we are going to become friends," berated the enemy. Atrus offered a calm retort, his voice carrying an air of detached curiosity. "It's a simple courtesy I extend when I encounter individuals who are destined to meet their end at my hands." Swoom! Before the creature could react, Atrus took swift action. A resounding swoosh marked the activation of a dark, dome-like barrier that isolated them from the outside world. Khan had activated the dimensional domain as he declared in a tyrannical voice. "Consider that a professional courtesy." After being surrounded by the black dome-like barrier that isolated them from the outside world, the enemy was flabbergasted and felt a sense of dread. "What is this?" the gargoyle-like creature demanded, his astonishment evident. "My domain," responded Khan, his tone laced with wry amusement. "Nonsense. Everyone who enters God's domain becomes a semi-saint. How can you wield your domain when even the hero of nature cannot?" asked the gargoyle, whose disbelief was palpable. "Because I'm awesome?" responded Khan, his retort dripping with sarcasm. Contrary to his towering figure and formidable presence, the gargoyle was, in fact, an assassin by trade. His mastery over darkness and shadows allowed him to strike from hidden openings, rendering his massive stature seemingly incongruous with his role. His unique advantage lay in his proficiency in utilizing anything dark or black to execute his stealthy skills, often without the need to be physically close to his target. Given the obsidian terrain of nothing but black soil and mountains, it provided the perfect backdrop for his lethal tactics, allowing him to execute flawless ambushes. This grim landscape was tailored to his advantage, offering him an environment where every element served as a tool for him to eliminate the hero's party. "You asked how did I find you, right?" But Khan wasn't done. "Tremble. The answer emerged in a chilling revelation as hundreds of ebony shadows emerged from the very ground, encircling Zalvik, the gargoyle assassin. I had my own assassins dispersed across this land the moment I set foot in this blackened environment. Khan's words unraveled the truth. How is this possible? I didn't sense any of them, as if they're not alive, said the opponent. Because they are not, responded Khan with ease. Then, did you know about them as well? The enemy's inquiry held a tinge of uncertainty. Yes. Khan's response carried an air of casual nonchalance. Those gargoyle heads emerging from walls, mountains, and boulders? They're your eyes and ears, allowing you to observe, listen, and gain insights into your adversaries. His taunt, veiled in amusement, continued, "Why do you think I decided to separate from the group? If I had revealed how you operated, they would have created a ruckus, leaving us even more vulnerable. And you would be aware that I was on your tail already. That's precisely why I've come for you alone," explained Khan fearlessly. "You still haven't answered my question. What is your name?" Khan's tone retained its calm expectancy. "I'm Zalvik," came the reply from his adversary. Thud. A sudden thud reverberated, and from within Khan's spatial ring materialized a magnificent black and golden throne. With an air of leisure, he lowered himself onto the throne, reclining comfortably. Swoosh! Another item conjured from the same mystical source was a long brown cigar, which he brought to his lips. Exuding an air of relaxation, Khan gazed at Zalvik with a demeanor that suggested he was entirely at ease. "We are now separated from others in a 2-kilometer radius. No one can see or hear anything that transpires within these boundaries." Khan's voice carried an air of authority. "Even if you were to temporarily become a saint, no one would be privy to it. Rest assured, I won't employ any debuffs from my domain to diminish your strength or seal your abilities." Khan's expression shifted into a tone of regal amusement. "So now, entertain me," implored Khan majestically. At this command, Zalvik was filled with fury due to being looked down so much by the blue Fenrirborn. "You insolent fool! Your pitiful tricks and bravado won't save you from meeting your end at my hands, just like those 2 killed recently." Zalvik's voice reverberated with rage. A myriad of darkness elemental spikes, whips, chains, and colossal daggers materialized in the sky as Zalvik exploited the terrain to unleash his unique skills. Khan's assassins vanished, and there was only Khan left, lounging on the throne with an air of nonchalance. "What kind of death do you want?" asked Zalvik, infuriated by Khan's nonchalance. "Surprise me," replied Khan as he shrugged his arms. After the exchange of banters and threats was over, Zalvik launched a relentless assault from every conceivable direction except the sky, determined to overwhelm Khan. Bang! Clang! However, in a sudden turn of events, a barrier materialized, halting Zalvik's barrage in its tracks. This was the darkness barrier skill Khan acquired from Ajax, the dark summoner in the Brahmner dungeon during the first month after his arrival in Rocco's empire. The appearance of a darkness elemental barrier left Zalvik dumbfounded and perplexed. "Weren't you a water/ice elemental brawler warrior? How can you wield a darkness elemental barrier like a mage?" Zalvik queried Khan from a distance of 100 meters, clearly taken aback by this unexpected development. "Hush! Cease your pointless inquiries. Why don't you try something? I'm finding these types of attacks rather dull," Khan retorted, his demeanor brimming with amusement as he savored the revitalizing aroma of his cigar. Rumble. Zalvik's next move involved creating a sizable pit, an attempt to ensnare Khan within its depths. Yet, Khan countered swiftly, as countless rod-like extensions made of darkness sprang forth from his throne, forming supportive pillars in a matter of moments. Whoosh! Clink! Undeterred, Zalvik conjured hundreds of dagger-like projections, each measuring a substantial 5 meters in length. Shoot! In a swift motion, the daggers were released, hurtling towards Khan with lethal intent. Crack! However, before they could reach their target, cracks emerged in front of Khan, and in a split second, the projectiles were drawn into a spatial void. Crackle! In an instant, those same cracks reappeared, this time directly just a few meters above Zalvik. Boom! Dang! Clatter! The very daggers he had launched now descended upon him, resulting in a resounding explosion that bathed the vicinity in a cloud of ebony dust. A bit more original? When the dust cleared, Zalvik was revealed, bearing injuries inflicted by his own weapons and skills. To this haggard figure of the opponent, Khan responded with a condescending smile. "Ah, come on. You can do better." Not only was he frustrated at his inability to finish off his target in this open confrontation, this added mocking smirk revealed by Khan fired up Zalvik even more. "You bastard! You think you can live after humiliating me?" shouted Zalvik, and soon, the sky rumbled as he amassed darkness from his body, and soon, his aura rose to that of a saint. Amid Khan's condescending smile, Zalvik's fury intensified. The skies themselves seemed to respond to his wrath, rumbling in unison with his tumultuous emotions. The very air around him began to swirl with an infusion of darkness, and his aura expanded, now emanating the distinctive presence of a second-stage saint. Rumble! In response to his heightened power, thousands of spikes emerged from the ground, serving as a menacing testament to his abilities. Moreover, the heavens themselves seemed to yield to his command as hundreds of small, gargoyle-like forms formed from the abyssal shadows took to the sky. These obsidian creatures moved in a coordinated symphony, resembling a flock of bats in the moonlit night. Their collective presence and movements were a tangible manifestation of Zalvik's newfound power as a second-stage saint. In a calculated display of power, the darkness elemental assassin, Zalvik, summoned and compressed his mana to form a formidable construct. This entity took the form of a colossal orb, its chaotic energies swirling within, ready to be unleashed. Shoot! With the intensity of a catapult's launch, Zalvik propelled the orb towards his target, a seething force of destruction. Boom! The impact was cataclysmic. The moment of collision resonated with the very fabric of the environment, sending shockwaves that rippled over a kilometer in radius. The ground quivered and shook, an ominous testament to the might contained within that chaotic sphere. Zalvik, wearing a self-satisfied grin, was confident in the overwhelming force he had wielded. "This is what gets you for displaying hubris in front of me. You can't survive against the wrath of a saint," declared Zalvik, a prideful smile appearing on his face. He believed he had tested Khan's limits, confident that no being within the realm of semi-saints could endure such an attack unscathed. It was an attack worthy of a legitimate saint, amplified by the unique circumstances of the god's domain. However, as the cloud of darkness began to recede, revealing the outcome of his onslaught, Zalvik was met with a scene that left him dumbfounded. How boring! Khan, despite being the intended target of that devastating assault, stood untouched, his countenance displaying not a single sign of injury or strain. With a demeanor as cool as ever, Khan addressed Zalvik's bewildered expression. "I said try something better." His voice held a tinge of admonishment, delivered with a poker-faced expression that seemed to underline the unassailable nature of his strength. 10 minutes later, huff! Zalvik huffed and sweat profusely despite being a second-stage saint at the moment. He was trying his best to kill Khan, but whether it was physical attacks or any assassination-related unique skill, he hadn't been able to injure the blue wolfkin in the slightest. Even his epic rank dagger imbued with his darkness element bounced off of Atru's skin as he made lethal strikes with all his might. This was what the assassin class excelled in, to kill opponent while latter even failed to sense them from anywhere and falling to their blade. However, for the first time, there stood a target whose skin itself was so thick and impervious to all of his attacks that even the daggers couldn't make a gash. One time, Zalvik even tried to fistfight with Atrus, but forget injuring this carefree wolfkin. It was his fists that almost broke from the impact instead. And the worst part was that unlike Atrus, he couldn't use any domain either. Hence, he was forced to keep facing and attacking him if he wanted to escape this domain. And the most embarrassing part, Zalvik had run out of most of his skills and combat techniques to kill this terrifying enemy. "Why don't you die?" screamed Zalvik in rage as he kept attacking furiously. This time, he conjured a massive 100 meters long dagger, a very flashy and noticeable skill despite him being an assassin. Slash! As Zalvik's colossal dagger hurtled through the air with unimaginable speed, it carried with it an aura of highly destructive darkness. The weapon's sheer size and menacing energy were awe-inspiring, reflecting Zalvik's proficiency in wielding his newfound saint-level powers. Utilizing the swirling mass of gargoyle-like shadows that obscured Khan's sight, Zalvik maneuvered himself into a strategic position behind his opponent. Shoot! The dagger followed suit, propelled with incredible velocity, aiming to cleave through anything in its path. A mere 5 meters stood between the dagger and Khan, who reclined on his throne with an air of nonchalance. Shing! However, just as the dagger was about to close the distance, a sudden disruption occurred. A circular black hole, 10 meters in diameter, materialized behind Khan. In an instant, the dagger's progress halted, suspended in midair, and its aura seemed to be absorbed by the ominous void. The contrast between Zalvik's unleashed might and the mysterious power displayed by Khan was stark, leaving a palpable tension in the air. As Khan's unique energy plunder skill exhibited its prowess, the scene unfolded in an unexpected manner. The gargantuan dagger of darkness, once an emblem of Zalvik's overwhelming power, was rendered powerless by the skill's insatiable appetite for energy. Without triggering any explosive impact or cataclysmic event, the massive dagger was gradually and quietly absorbed by the skill. Its destructive aura was devoured and nullified. Within a mere 10 seconds, the imposing weapon had disappeared entirely, leaving only a faint amount of world energy. Burp! Khan, seemingly unaffected by the monumental feat, emitted an unassuming burp and patted his stomach in a rather casual gesture. In a swift and unusual movement, the throne itself pivoted, turning slightly to acknowledge Zalvik. Amusement laced Khan's tone as he spoke in the aftermath of his skill's impressive demonstration. Khan gently smiled at Zalvik as he replied in a pleased and satisfied tone. "Thanks for the food." In a mesmerizing display of dominance, Khan had effectively controlled the tide of the battle against Zalvik, all while maintaining an air of detachment. While Zalvik had desperately thrown his most potent attacks, Khan had repelled them without so much as a flinch, much less an injury. Seated upon his throne, Khan directed his gaze towards his flustered opponent. With an air of casual curiosity, he questioned Zalvik's remaining arsenal. "Do you have any more tricks?" His voice was composed, betraying none of the intensity that lay beneath. Zalvik, caught between frustration and wariness, sought to understand the enigma before him. Why are you still unscathed? What kind of trick is this?" His demeanor was cautious, as his earlier confidence had crumbled against the reality of Khan's apparent invulnerability. "Not a trick. It's a plot armor." Khan's response was as nonchalant as ever. Zalvik's confusion only deepened, unable to fathom the significance of this term. "A plot what?" he demanded, searching for an explanation. "Nothing noteworthy. It's something you have to ignore to enjoy the story." Khan's response was dry and dismissive. With that cryptic answer, Khan finally rose from his throne, signaling a shift in the battle's momentum. The undeniable implication was that he had yet to unleash his full strength. "The reason I isolated you here, knowing that you can't kill me even if you became a saint." Khan's voice carried a weight of purpose as he began to lay out his intentions. "Information about what?" Zalvik's voice was edged with curiosity, mixed with a hint of apprehension. "The realm tears." Khan's tone turned serious, revealing the gravity of the matter he was addressing. "Tell me where the realm tears in this peninsula is located. And how many are there?" Khan's words were deliberate, each one carrying the weight of his determination. "And what makes you think I would tell you?" Zalvik's response was defiant, his anger evident in his tone. "I would rather die than tell you anything. Be careful what you wish for." Khan's voice took on a grim quality as he started advancing toward the formidable gargoyle saint. His intent clear. Boom! Khan's assault on Zalvik intensified, his strikes calculated and relentless. With each blow, he channeled his own darkness to counter and overpower Zalvik's abilities. And again, Khan used the Energy Plunder's skill to absorb Zalvik's attacks completely while turning them into his own strength. The gargoyle assassin found himself unable to evade or retaliate, his strength rapidly draining as Khan's domination over his darkness took hold. And suddenly, his body stopped moving. What is this? Why can't I move? Zalvik's panic was palpable, his body betraying him. Because after I absorbed and assimilated it within my own body, I commanded the darkness within you to heed my call. I now control your body at my will. Khan's voice resonated with, is because I want information, he declared, his eyes locked onto Zalvik's. Authority, a chilling revelation. That is impossible. Zalvik's disbelief was evident. It is possible. Khan's response was unwavering, his hold over Zalvik's darkness unrelenting. Who are you? This isn't a power that any normal member of the Heroes Party can use. Zalvik's fear and confusion were evident in his words. Me? I'm the Herald of Darkness itself. Khan's voice bore an otherworldly resonance, a declaration of his dominion over the very element that Zalvik wielded. In the wake of Khan's revelation, the control he exerted over Zalvik's darkness intensified, overwhelming the gargoyle assassin's resistance. Boom! A massive pillar of darkness rose and black fog spread inside the dimensional domain. Khan's aura erupted, a maelstrom of darkness and power swirling around him. His very form shifted, the familiar water/ice elemental wolfkin fading away to unveil a new incarnation, a darkness elemental Fenrirborn. His obsidian body was now adorned with intricate golden tattoos, a manifestation of his newfound dominion over this formidable element. Now tell me, where are the realm tiers, and which one among them leads to the peninsula created by the god of darkness? Khan's voice resonated with an air of authority, his eyes gleaming with the weight of his intent. There was a reason, a grave purpose, why Khan sought knowledge about the realm tiers. Flashback. A day after the Elysium tribal tourney ended. You must go to the Conclave of Heroes no matter what, stated Romulus with a commanding voice. If you do not do so or miss it for any reason, spoke the heavenly king of fire with a bated breath as he revealed the cause of his warning. You will die. His proclamation resonated in the tribe council hall, casting a heavy silence over the assembled individuals. What do you mean by that? Why would I die? Asked Khan, his features set in his Atrus persona. Because your divine key is not awakened, spoke the heavenly king of fire somberly. And what does that have to do with me dying? Queried Khan, his confusion evident. Romulus then proceeded to unveil the ancient customs set by the gods after all heroes were summoned, explaining the significance of the Conclave of Heroes as a mandatory event for all heroes to attend, a condition for their continued existence. He delved further, revealing the crucial role of limit break within the god's altar, which would propel heroes to at least an 8th stage saint level, a necessary enhancement to stand against the looming threat of the demon god. So even if I enter as a member of the Heroes Party, the divine essence of the god of nature would only provide a temporary extension of my lifespan as long as I'm in the god's domain? Asked Khan, seeking clarification from his master. Yes, the divine essence will prolong your lifespan and prevent your core from shattering like glass, but it's not a permanent solution. To fully address the issue, you need to enter the peninsula created by the god of darkness. Only his divine essence can perfectly merge with your divine key and stop its deterioration entirely. Explained Romulus. Due to your divine key not being awakened, you won't be able to access the god's altar designated for you. However, by spending the required amount of time in the designated peninsula, your divine key will no longer pose a threat to you. As for entering your designated god's altar, that is a challenge we will have to tackle later. Revealed the Apostle of Slaughter. Khan absorbed this information, realizing the gravity of the situation and the necessary steps he had to take to ensure his survival and growth. Then how can I reach that peninsula? Obviously, I can't enter through the tower designated for the Hero of Darkness since it would attract attention from the empires. Plus, I don't possess any access spells or runes to enter the god's domain. Khan expressed his concerns. There is a solution, but it's quite risky. I recommend you undertake this only after ensuring Maximus' safety during his limit break ceremony. Romulus replied, his expression showing a hint of resignation. And what is this solution? Inquired Khan with a growing sense of curiosity. The realm tears, Romulus declared, his voice becoming more serious. He paused, letting the weight of his words sink in before continuing. Those are the only means through which you can exploit the gaps in the fabric of space that connect different gods' domains and access other peninsulas created by various gods and goddesses. Thus, you must discover the locations of these tiers without arousing suspicion, all the while fulfilling your role as a member of the Hero of Nature's party. Your ultimate goal is to penetrate the peninsula crafted by the God of Darkness. There, you will need to absorb enough of his divine essence to halt the degradation of your core, ensuring your survival. Afterward, you must return safely to the hero's party, maintaining the facade that you've acted solely in their interests and shared no ulterior motives. Romulus explained. Atreus, his alter ego, reacted with a blend of frustration and skepticism. This is much more complicated than it sounds. It's akin to invading a foreign country, enjoying a leisurely vacation there, all while deceiving my allies to ensure none suspect my true intentions. In reality, the execution is much more formidable than the concept itself. This is easier said than done, spoke Khan with an exasperated countenance. So you're saying that you can't do it? I feel so disappointed as your master, spoke Romulus in a smug tone. Ugh, fine. I will find a way once I go through whatever trials they have for us there. I will look for a method to gather information about the realm tiers, said Khan and gave a determined look. Present moment. So, are you willing to talk or not? Asked Khan to Zilvik. Never, retorted Zalvik. However, a wicked grin appeared on Khan's face as he placed his palm on Zalvik's head. And then very next moment, his eyes glowed yellow. Khan had activated lucid reality. 1 hour later, Atreus returned to the camp made by the hero's party. Drip, Maximus, Rolakin, and the rest of the group stared at the head in a mixture of shock and awe. Black liquid dropped on the soiled ground as a round object was noticed by everyone. In Khan's hands was Zivlok's head. In the hidden chamber, the darkness-infused crystal shattered with a resounding impact, mirroring the demise of Sylvana earlier. The room's somber atmosphere seemed to echo with each fragment that fell. Another one bites the dust. A voice murmured, its tone a mixture of resignation and bitter acceptance. As if summoned by the events, the ominous figure emerged once again from the shadows, their presence as disquieting as before. Even Zalvik has fallen. He should have been the one to at least halt their advance. The figure lamented, frustration evident in their words. The weight of their mission and the constraints imposed by their circumstances cast a shadow over their intentions. A deep exhalation seemed to carry the weight of centuries of longing and restraint. Damn this curse, if not for the restrictions placed upon us by the god's domain. Their voice trailed off, bearing the frustration of being a prisoner within their own desires. I myself would have gone and dealt with them already. Yet, I can't even leave this castle because of this wretched curse, they continued, their tone tinged with both bitterness and longing. The passage of time, marked by multiple conclaves of heroes, weighed heavily on them. No, I can't afford to fail again. Their resolve was palpable as they spoke, a determination driven by a long-held purpose. As the figure's words continued, an anxious edge crept into their voice, hinting at their intense desire for retribution. This time, I will ensure that the hero of nature from this new generation meets their end. Their vow hung in the air, charged with a mixture of anticipation and urgency. The figure's intentions remained cloaked in mystery, a dark undercurrent to the unfolding events within the castle and the realm beyond. Subsequently, he activated the communication artifact that had previously served to establish contact and issue commands to Zalvik. Even Zalvik has met his end. Their mastery of countermeasures against multiple elements and manipulation of the battlefield has proven to be an obstacle for our cause. Underestimating their capabilities is a grave mistake. Presently, only the 4 of us remain. On the receiving end of the communication, a response echoed forth. Understood, your lordship. I shall proceed with caution, avoiding unnecessary actions. The inquiry continued, probing into the strategy. How do you intend to address this situation? The usual methods, came the confident reply. Acknowledging the statement, the dark silhouette offered a cryptic response. I see. Ensure that your approach is methodical and systematic. Their ranks contain individuals whose skills and experience exceed the surface impression. Among them, there may be one whose potential poses a greater threat than even the hero of nature. The assurance was met with a pledge from the other side. I will appear before you only when I have promising news to share, sire. With these words, the enigmatic being departed from its cavernous dwelling, leaving behind an aura of intrigue and an unfolding plan that remained veiled in shadows. Its form was a grotesque fusion of elements, a quadrupedal body, 2 wings extending like twisted appendages, and a human-like visage crowned with the jagged horns of a bighorn sheep. A sinister hiss punctuated the air, emerging from a serpentine tail that bore the menacing head of a snake, complete with piercing golden eyes. The humanoid countenance bore an otherworldly aura, its eyes cloaked in darkness with a vivid yellow iris that seemed to glow. A wild, mane-like growth reminiscent of a lion's framed this disconcerting visage. It has been too long. The being intoned, its voice a mixture of eerie anticipation and malice that seemed to permeate the very air around it. With an unsettling declaration, its words dripped with a sinister edge. The chilling tone resonated with an unmistakable sadism, heralding the start of a disturbing game that only this creature could conceive. It's time to have some fun. Khan showed only the head. As for the body, he completely absorbed it using Energy Plunderer. However, he was surprised to see that Zalvik had no core at all, as if he wasn't a living being but a living corpse in perfect health without a heart. Is this who I think it is? Asked Maximus. Correct. He is the guardian of these lands, responded Atrus and threw the head on the ground. Then that darkness elemental barrier that I sensed a while ago was his doing? Asked the hero of nature. Correct again. He is a darkness elemental assassin and this entire land is his playground. I had a hard time even finding him, but this idiot attacked me because I was alone and seemed like an easy target, stated Atrus. Is that why you left by yourself? Asked Maximus. Come on. Stop reading my mind already. People will think we're dating or something, said Khan in a sarcastic tone. How did you manage to defeat him then? Inquired Rolakin, curiosity lacing his voice. Khan's gaze turned sharp, his eyes locking onto the basilisk mage, and an unsettling chill seemed to permeate the air. Shiver. The involuntary tremor ran through Rolakin's entire frame, a stark reaction to the potent and unsettling stare he was receiving from Khan. His tone shifted dramatically as he quickly adjusted his approach. How did you defeat him, sir? He asked, now adopting a respectful tone and bowing his head slightly in deference. Khan's lips curled into a sly grin, the change in his demeanor palpable. Ah, my dear Snakey, you have already experienced the power of my illusion abilities firsthand. Merely locking eyes with me allows you a glimpse into what I'm capable of, doesn't it? He spoke, his words carrying a hint of wickedness. The memory of the torment Rolakin had endured at the hands of Atrus's illusion ability rushed back to him, the sensation of all his darkest fears and nightmares converging upon him. The recollection left him almost frozen in place, the impact of that skill still vividly etched in his mind. Atrus, as much as I appreciate you making bold moves for the sake of the party, "I would prefer if you didn't risk your life so thoughtlessly," said Maximus, his expression full of concern. Even as the leader of the group, the hero of nature thought of Khan as a reliable ally and an honorable comrade compared to the rest. He was the only person in this group that Maximus considered as his equal ever since the Fenrirborn joined the party. "I will have to disagree, Lord Hero," spoke Atreus in a dismissive tone. "We're not here to play friends or family. Our task is to protect you and also get rid of any potential obstacles that stop you from entering the god's altar. If you die, all of us are good as dead anyway. Hence, I took the initiative and got rid of an enemy I was confident in taking down. It was a calculated move from my side," explained Atreus and sat down on a stone slab. "Just don't be surprised if I do it again or vanish somewhere to get rid of potential threats," he declared. Sigh. Maximus sighed and accepted this proposition. Although he was reluctant, he couldn't refute Atreus' logic. This was the true reason behind forming the Heroes' Party in the first place. He couldn't just tell them to not do their job. Not when their own lives were linked to his fate. He shifted his attention to Atreus, a sense of anticipation in the air. "Did he say anything of note during your encounter?" he asked, and the rest of the party members leaned in, waiting for Atreus to shed light on the situation. The guy wasn't much of a talker, and I could hardly make a decent conversation as he was attacking me from all directions. However, I did find the exit towards the next region. We should move soon. He revealed his intentions. Sylvana and Vikot's corpses were kept by Speaky in his space ring. This was as per the Imperial orders. They couldn't just leave a saint's corpse or their core in God's domain. The Empire wished to preserve them. Even if there was a funeral held for them later, the cores would still be kept by the Imperial rule for helping other saints to break through to the next level and fill the void of power left by the fallen saints. Finally, the party stopped in front of a secret tunnel that was previously hidden by an illusion barrier. As they traversed through the secret tunnel, the atmosphere seemed to shift with each step, growing increasingly oppressive. It was as if the very air weighed heavy with a sense of foreboding. The party members could feel the tangible shift in the surroundings, a subtle distortion that unsettled their senses. With Maximus and Khan's warning, their focus sharpened, and each step became more deliberate, every corner checked for potential threats. And as soon as they exited the tunnel, looking at the next region, Khan and Maximus shared a solemn exchange, their expressions mirroring the gravity of the situation. Khan and Maximus' gaze turned somber. "Do you sense it as well?" asked Khan to Maximus. "Yes, this land is filled with," spoke Maximus, and his body and mind went on high alert. Chaos element. In the world of Vantria, the chaos element was not merely a physical or natural force like other elements. Instead, it was a manifestation of the darker aspects of sentient beings and their tendencies towards destruction, chaos, and carnage. This unique element wasn't tied to any particular bloodline or species. Rather, it stemmed from the inherent nature of certain individuals or groups, species or individuals that possessed a strong inclination towards violence, chaos, and mayhem could channel and manipulate the chaos element. These were beings that found pleasure or empowerment through acts of brutality, and their connection to this element allowed them to harness its power. Unlike other elemental abilities, the chaos element wasn't governed by the typical rules of elemental manipulation. It was a force that drew its strength from the darker emotions and actions of individuals. The more chaotic and destructive the actions, the more potent the connection to the chaos element became. Those who could wield this element could bring about utter devastation, manipulate emotions, and even bend reality itself in twisted and unpredictable ways. However, this power came at a cost, as the chaos element was known to corrupt and consume those who relied on it too heavily, turning them into agents of chaos themselves. In the third region of the god's domain, where the chaos element held sway, the hero's party would face not only physical challenges but also the psychological and moral dilemmas that this element presented. Khan understood that the utilization of the chaos element was closely tied to two distinct methods, both of which focused on harnessing the destructive and chaotic aspects of this unique power. Bloodline-specific abilities and slaughter. For certain individuals with bloodlines predisposed to the chaos element, their abilities became more potent the more lives they took in battle. These abilities were likely tied to their heritage, and as they killed more enemies, their strength and proficiency in these abilities increased. This method fed on their innate connection to chaos and destruction, driving them to become even more dangerous as they continued to fight. 2. Creating chaos. The second approach to wielding the chaos element involved intentionally sowing chaos among individuals or specific targets. This manipulation of emotions and actions triggered a massive power boost for the practitioner. The more disarray and chaos they managed to incite, the greater their strength and skills became. This method didn't require a specific bloodline but rather relied on the practitioner's cunning, strategy, and understanding of how to manipulate and exploit vulnerabilities in people's minds. Khan had witnessed the first approach through his experiences with Jugram, whose true demon bloodline gave him access to abilities that grew stronger the more enemies he killed. This made Jugram exceptionally formidable in the midst of battle, and his power escalation was a testament to the potency of the chaos element's first utilization method. As for the second way, he had no experience nor did he know someone who utilized the chaos element in such fashion. Sylvana did not mention about the chaos element other than the fact that the third guardian is some sort of chimera. Spoke Maximus with a stern gaze as he looked around the region. The heroes' party found themselves in a bleak and ominous landscape, the third region of the god's domain proving to be as foreboding as it was described. The chaotic nature of this region was reflected in its environment. An unsettling combination of dense marshlands, toxic fumes, and eerie lighting that defied the natural order. The absence of a sun and the persistent yellow hue in the sky added to the unsettling atmosphere. The environment itself seemed to mirror the concept of chaos. The marshlands hindered movement, the toxic fumes created disorientation, and the lifeless trees and murky water added to the sense of despair. As they navigated this desolate region, the heroes' party had to be on constant alert for any signs of the Guardians' presence and the chaos they might unleash. The Guardians' chimera-like nature only added to the mystery and potential danger that lay ahead. Zavales and Atrus, we will depend on both of you for this one, spoke Maximus in a commanding tone. Borat and I will lead the front while Conan and Pakawar will lead left and right. Rolakin and Speaky will support and buff Zavales and Atrus periodically after they use their skills. He ordered the group. As the heroes' party stood in the midst of the chaotic marshlands, Maximus took charge, devising a strategic plan that capitalized on the unique abilities of each member. Their experience and coordination allowed them to adjust their tactics according to the Guardian's potential chaos element manipulation. The roles were distributed in a way that aimed to counteract the unknown chaos-based abilities they were likely to face. The heroes' party advanced into the chaotic marshlands, their strategy in place and their roles well defined. As they reached the edge of the marshland and prepared to enter the challenging environment, Rolakin and Speaky cast a spell to enhance Atrus's capabilities, augmenting his mana capacity by a significant 30%. With this boost, Atrus took the first step onto the murky waters of the marsh, demonstrating his mastery over his water and ice elemental abilities. Almost instantly, he activated a skill, and the ground within a radius of 500 meters transformed into solid ice, as if it had been frozen in time. The ice was remarkably dense and unyielding, providing a stable and secure path for the party to traverse the treacherous marshland without succumbing to the movement-limiting terrain. Khan's mana surged and the road made of ice kept appearing as his skill kept reaching further and creating a solid path for them. "You're up," he spoke and looked at Zavales, the battle-axe bearkin warrior. Both magic class members then cast buff spells on the bearkin as well. "Yes, sir," said the 3-meter-tall polar bear, and his snowy white aura spread in the surrounding. With the support of the magic class members, unleashed his own abilities. His snowy white aura expanded, generating a blizzard that covered a vast area of 300 meters around them. This frigid storm not only made the surroundings extremely cold but also caused the toxic fumes in the air to condense and settle, clearing the way for them to traverse without being harmed by the hazardous environment. But as a result, the toxic fumes in the air also condensed since they were basically made of water as a constituent. This way, they now had a clear and harmless path to walk, and the environment was no longer hazardous for them as long as they moved as a group. The meticulous planning and distribution of tasks orchestrated by Maximus showcased his exceptional leadership skills. By leveraging the unique abilities of multiple team members instead of relying solely on one, he ensured both efficiency and preparedness. This strategy not only eased the burden on individuals like Khan and Zavaliz but also conserved their mana for potential challenges ahead. Maximus's approach was marked by practicality, realism, and a deep understanding of his team members' strengths. He recognized that each member brought their own set of skills to the table, and by carefully coordinating their efforts, he optimized the group's performance. This strategic thinking and ability to capitalize on the diverse talents within the party set Maximus apart as a leader who prioritized collaboration and effectiveness. Comparatively, Khan's leadership style might have been less honed in terms of teamwork and group dynamics. This made him a much better leader than Khan, who had less experience about working with others than his subordinates. Around the same time, step, over a massive heap of fallen trees and stench filled with the purple smoke, arrived the guardian of this place. The being's various features reflected a complex array of emotions: jubilation in its hissing tail, anticipation in its outspread wings, and a grim sense of purpose in its human face. As it watched the hero's party draw closer, it was clear that this entity was not to be taken lightly. Its multifaceted and maniacal expressions suggested a depth of character and intent, hinting at a potential clash of wills and strategies as the party ventured further into this chaotic and dangerous territory. The sinister being seemed intrigued and slightly amused by Maximus's tactical prowess and his ability to nullify the advantage of the chaotic environment. "Oh, their leader is smart. He took out my terrain advantage while having a perfect team formation that works well against ambushes from any side," praised this being with a human face but the body of several monsters. "As much as I want to kill them all in a physical confrontation and trample on their lives while scaring the hell out of them, it will be simply a waste of time." This being, with its human face and monstrous body, seemed to have some understanding of battle strategy and recognized the efficiency of the hero's party formation. "I guess I have no choice but to use," it declared with a sinister smile. The anticipation grew, setting the stage for a potentially challenging encounter ahead. The Battle of Minds.